Netcasts you love.
From people you trust.
This is TWiT.
Bandwidth for TWiT specials is provided by CacheFly at CACHEFLY.com. This is TWiT Live special number 241, recorded Monday, March 9th, 2015. Spring forward with Apple. Our TWiT Live specials are brought to you by Gazelle, the fast and simple way to sell your used gadget. Find out what your used iPhone, iPad, or other Apple product is worth at Gazelle.com. Leo Laporte here, and we are joined by Mike Elgan, our news director, who's just back from Barcelona and
fresh off the plane.
Mobile World Congress and a million phones.
Yes, it was
but you
quite
brought
an
your
event.
iPhone on the trip.
I did. It worked out great.
No iPhone in evidence in Barcelona,
and yet it was everywhere.
And of course, Apple announced 1 week before this event, March 2nd, the first day of Mobile World Congress, that they were going to do this event.
Let's take some of the oxygen out of the room.
Were people talking about Apple?
Everybody was, and of course the product announcements all revealed an obsession with catching up with Apple on a variety of fronts.
A lot of watches.
Yes.
And Ihnatko also here from the Chicago Sun-Times and his home base in snowy New England.
Snow base Alpha, yes.
Did it snow again last night?
Got a little bit of snow yesterday, but this was the first day where I got dressed and wait a minute, I don't have to put on long underwear. Wait a minute, I'm in the office. It's warm enough. I can turn off the space heater. It's like the first day of like mid-40s temps, and we're like freaking out. We're so happy.
So Apple is streaming this, and I will give you our usual caution that if you don't like people talking over your events, that you can go to apple.com/live and watch live. They're also doing the live blog thing, which they did. They've done for the last couple of events. They started in September. Who's that? What are you pointing at?
Balconies. Like Lincoln watching a play.
Yeah, that's the Yerba Buena Center, which is a beautiful venue. That's where Steve Jobs announced the iPad in 2010. It is not where the iPhone was announced. That's across the street. That's Moscone West, which is a much larger venue.
Yeah.
How big is Yerba Buena, Andy?
It's about 500 to 600 seats, so it's intimate, but they can fit a lot of people in there.
Not everybody.
It's my favorite. The favorite place I've ever seen a Foo Fighters concert, let's say, was at the Yerba Buena Center.
Yeah, yeah. It's a good venue. Everybody's got a good view, as you can see. The seats are stadium style. There's a back row where cameras are situated, and all of the press with cameras are. You can see, in fact, I think right there. And then, of course, some people are asking who's going to be the first person to use Meerkat in the auditorium and get thrown out by Apple. My experience is Apple doesn't throw you out; they just hate you forever.
That's right. Next time you're like, okay, ready for the event, and they're like,
no.
Actually,
I like being at this from this vantage point. As long as Apple streams it, I feel like we're getting the best of both worlds because we could talk, we could broadcast, and we can watch what happens.
I hate to say it because it sounds like sour grapes because I'm a big long-time blacklister, but being at these events, nobody's going to ask a question that's going to extract from them information that that they weren't planning to release.
These are highly orchestrated,
highly disciplined executives.
Yeah.
So you will not get any information by being there, but it's nice to be there. You get to touch and feel it and walk out and say, here's what it felt like. And so there is a value to it, but unlike other events, I can go to a Google event or a Microsoft event, and I can probably come up with a question that will get from them information that would otherwise not been revealed. So not this event.
Watching the stream so far, this is a much more lively production than in past years. This reminds me a lot more of the iTunes Festival in London, where lots of jib shots, cameras scanning the crowd, close-ups of what people are doing on their phone, and even backstage tweets. Tim Cook just tweeted, "Getting psyched backstage listening to I Lived by One Republic." So, this is...
I'm a little bit cynical enough to know. Okay, so what record company paid how much money?
Oh, come on! I don't think Tim would do that. First of all, he doesn't need the money.
No, well, Apple got $750 billion in the bank by not making decisions that don't hurt them and make money.
It may be a better, maybe the better tit for tat would be that One Republic would give Beats an exclusive when the Beats service launches on their new album.
I do think that Tim Cook aspires someday to make as much money as Angela Arendts, who they hired from Burberry.
Isn't that funny?
Yeah,
she makes more money because they had to make up. It was just year only because they had to make up her CEO compensation and stock options at Burberry. So, are we all agreed? This is, the invitation says spring forward. Of course, it's the day after we sprang forward in the United States with daylight savings time. But we're agreed this is a watch announcement.
Yeah, unless it's a spring-powered Apple car.
No, actually,
they could also finally release photos for Mac. I mean, this would be a good time to do that. It seems to be working pretty much okay.
I've been using it on the beta of Yosemite, and it looks great.
And it really creates a new light for Samsung's Fall Back event later on in the year.
I also have heard from reliable sources that this will be the debut of a new MacBook Air, that 12-inch super thin Air, the Retina Air that we've been hearing so much about. Does that seem credible, Andy, or would they want to dilute the watch?
I've been hearing a lot of velocity about that over the last week. As always, when you're this close to the day, Apple can't really keep a lid on everything, and so things are going to get out. I wouldn't put any money on it one way or another, but there's a lot of velocity behind that one.
Is anybody playing Apple event bingo today? I'm sure there is somewhere. I'll have to look and see if there's a bingo card online. You check it off as certain things are announced. We're about 40 seconds from the 10 a.m. launch time. Here's a little tidbit. If you look at the Apple Watch in all its displays, as in previous clocks on Apple displays, like the iPhone, the time is always 10:09. And Andy, isn't that because that's when Steve would get to the announcement 9 minutes into the keynote?
I don't know. These are so well stage managed at this point that they're very slick. They're very professional. You kind of wish that every event was run this way, because we've all been at those events where it really took 20 minutes for them to just find the first person who's supposed to be shrugging off his jacket and stepping onto the stage, and then another hour before anything substantive is done. You really do appreciate it. As much as some people can complain about Apple really making this into a very slick event, it's a very efficient use of anybody's time who's actually inside there.
It also has to be said that the industry really, there's a lot of a desire to copy some of what Apple has done. It has to be said. And one of those things are these events. At the Samsung event at Mobile World Congress, for example, they were trying so hard to give it that Apple-like feel and have that Apple-like energy. And they failed completely, partly because their CEO has no charisma and very limited English skills, but also because, some of the executives they brought out on stage, they didn't have the crowd with them. And they would say these big jokes and set up a big, a big response for the audience, and then it would be crickets and people knitting and so on. And so it's really, this is one of the hardest things that Apple does, is they create these events with so much excitement, and it gets all of their major products off to a great start.
Here we go with a warning that always gives me fits. I think if Apple really meant this, they wouldn't stream it live. So far, we've never heard from them about restreaming. Again, though, the reminder, if you wish to hear this without commentary, apple.com/live. Mike, Elgan, Andy, Ihnatko, and I plan to kind of analyze this as we go and see what it means. But you will be watching live with us and probably a million or more other folks all around the world. When Apple does these streams, they get a big, big audience. If you go to apple.com/live, you also see Apple's live stream of this. This is probably the watch event, but there may be more. It's fitting with the watch event. Already, it looks more stylish, frankly, than other Apple events. Here we go. Let's go right to the stage, and you could turn up the sound, too.
Oh, we're in Chinese again. Oh, they're probably joking. Okay,
oh, no.
There we go.
You may remember last time it was Chinese translation and slates from the truck due to, we believe, congestion on the network, as millions all around the world tuned in to see what Apple is going to announce. This has to be the most hotly anticipated Apple event in years, the first new product category since the iPad announced in 2010. Here's their Chinese Apple Store. They love to highlight retail.
Yes,
at the beginning of these.
Yeah, they're not going to waste any time. They know they got everybody's attention for 15 minutes. This is a great place to put a little bit of good promotion for other things.
Sell.
And also to boost China, because that's really where the future of their big revenue is. China will be a larger market than the United States for Apple within a couple of years, easy.
Now, when Chinese people line up for a new store phone opening, where do they ship the phones they buy to?
Soon it'll be back to us. They do the same thing, the countdown. This is exactly what they do at Apple stores here in the States. You know, wow, took off his shirt.
Oh, Mao Zedong would be rolling over in his grave.
Actually, the line for Mao's grave is much longer and slower than this, and not nearly so joyous, I must
Not
say.
so many high fives.
Yeah. It was funny, when I was in Beijing a few years ago, I went to do that. It took about an hour in the line. And you could buy flowers to place on Mao's grave. He's lying in state there and in the Red Square. But then they take every, half an hour, there's so many flowers, they clear them off and resell them. They bring them back to the sellers.
That's the genius of China.
It's just brilliant. But huge numbers of Chinese people from the countryside still come to Beijing to see Mao's grave.
Yeah.
At least
he's really going to be excited.
At least two companies now, two major tech blogs, using Meerkat to stream this from within.
Yeah. Meerkat's moment.
Thanks, everyone, for joining us this morning, and welcome to San Francisco. What you just saw on that video was the opening of our latest store in Westlake, China. It's in Hangzhou, China. It is an incredible place, and it's a gorgeous new design. The architecture is amazing with a cantilevered second floor.
He kept increasing the size of the glass panes in the Fifth Avenue store in New York City because he wanted no seams.
Yeah. Open, bright, and of course with a great team. And this is the way we love to see our stores.
Tim's wearing his, looks like a cardigan.
Yeah. It's a new look.
Very Mr. Rogers today.
Where's his infinity sweater?
Customers and an amazing team. These stores are
also, it should be pointed out that a lot of the people at this place are going to be Apple employees. So if you hear a lot of woos and yay, woo, it's not just all tech press journalists or like.
This fantastic
in fact, one would hope mostly not journalists who,
hopefully,
the ethical considerations would imply you not cheer.
If they put their hands in the air and one of those hands has an Apple Watch on it.
Yeah, I think you'll see a few.
Aggressive plan to be at 40.
But you're right. They stock the audience. Front row is usually dignitaries, Apple board members, people like Al Gore. Second, third, fourth row, usually Apple employees involved in the watch, and then they're Apple employees throughout the auditorium.
And they're actually as excited to be there as anybody else is to watch it. So it's not just like seating the audience with cheerers. It really is. Hey, this is gonna, the number of people that I saw at Apple who were seeing the Apple Watch for the first time in September, and were just thrilled to finally see
absolutely. You want something exciting and new from your company. That should do. Apple Campus in Cupertino has big auditoriums as well with large screens. They're participating remotely in Cupertino as well.
And of course, future announcements will take place at the Spaceship Campus.
We've got a few more reasons for you to visit those stores today. And so I'm going to hop right into that. And I'm going to start with Apple TV.
Whoa!
Whoa, here we go.
Now, customers love to stream their favorite movies, their favorite TV shows, their photos, their music to the big screen. We're offering content from all of the leading content providers, and we're adding more and more each day. You've probably noticed this if you're an Apple TV
HBO Now
user.
will be on this list.
Now, of all the great channels that we have on Apple TV,
this is the new $15
there's
a month.
one in particular I'd like to talk about this morning.
HBO.
Over the top
HBO.
Without cable subscription. This has been rumored, of course.
Yep.
We love HBO.
HBO Go is already on the Apple
They
TV.
have created groundbreaking shows that have really become a part of our culture and help shape our culture.
This is a surprise, Andy. He's
Shows
launching
like
with the
The
Apple TV
Sopranos.
completely unexpectedly.
Yep.
Shows like Entourage.
Overdue, isn't it?
And
Yes.
of course,
And this is they would
Sex
not have
and
an
the
event for
City.
this. So.
Right.
And coming next month on April 12th,
I really
it's
think
the
it comes
return
as
of
Samantha.
Veep.
Yeah, but it's not Veep that everybody's waiting for.
And
It's Game of
Silicon
Thrones.
Valley.
Yeah.
And of course, one of our favorites, Game of Thrones.
This humanizes Tim Cook in a way, too. As a TV fan, right? He's one of the people.
Yeah.
We've got the CEO of
Mentioning
HBO,
Game of Thrones is
Richard
a lot like the
Plepler,
Hello
joining
Cleveland,
us.
Are you ready to
He's a
rock
friend
of
ours.
Yeah, it is, isn't
He's
it?
got
Sort of
some
event.
exciting news about HBO.
This is very interesting. You've got to think the cable MSOs, Comcast, Time Warner, Cox, they're watching with great interest right now.
Yeah.
Here's the CEO of HBO, Richard Plepler.
Thank you, Tim. Good morning, everyone. On behalf of all of us at
Very tan.
HBO,
Yeah.
Very tan.
let me return your compliment by saying that we love Apple and all the extraordinary products which have captured the imagination of many people all over the world. We are thrilled to be here this
HBO
morning
Now.
to announce our standalone streaming service, HBO Now, and we couldn't be prouder that Apple is our exclusive partner at launch.
This is over the top, and that is a huge exclusive.
Yes.
This is HBO without a cable subscription, if the rumors are true.
When you subscribe to HBO Now, you will have access to all our acclaimed original programming, past, present, and future,
Wow.
as well as our unmatched lineup of Hollywood blockbusters. All you need to get HBO Now is a broadband connection and an Apple device. There will be brand new HBO Now channel on Apple TV, so you can enjoy HBO on the big screen.
Apple device. So.
And you can watch HBO on your iPhones
There you go.
and iPads as well. We will introduce our new product in early April for $14.99 a month.
Remember that
And if you subscribe in April,
HBO's
you will
owned by
get the
Time
first
Warner, one of
month
the big
free
cable companies.
and have it in time for the
$15
April
a month, that
12th
price was
premiere
also
of our
accurate.
global phenomenon,
Yeah,
Game
but that's
of
also
Thrones.
how much
As Tim mentioned
one channel of
earlier,
HBO costs.
is
exactly.
known for
Yeah,
great
although
content.
hard to get one channel
So
of
I thought that
HBO,
it
right?
would be
Yeah.
fun for this
you
world
just asked for it.
and for those watching.
You don't get a
to have
bundle?
An exclusive look at
I get a
brand
bundle.
new Game
I
of
got a
Thrones
bundle. I
trailer
sign up just a sample, and then I
to
cut
give
it
you
back
a
just to one
feel
channel.
Oh, you
Really,
can.
that
what
one
I
channel is
promise
just so I
will
can get
be
HBO Go.
an
Yeah.
extraordinary
Nationwide, it's
season.
about $13 to $16,
This
so
is
that's
a
right smack dab in the
transformative
middle.
moment for HBO. And we are so excited to introduce HBO Now to all of you today. Thank you very
Interesting.
much.
Apple exclusive.
Enjoy the trailer.
Now, will they release a new Apple TV, or will it just be an update to the existing one? It doesn't need a new Apple TV, obviously.
Yeah.
But it is overdue now.
Lannister.
Game of Thrones commercial.
Baratheon.
So he's a very
Stop.
showbiz guy, so he could be trusted to
I
get
will.
on, deliver his lines smartly.
It
And
will
then
He did.
get
He
off.
moved quickly. I doubt he even was using a teleprompter.
Little gratuitous violence.
This one's on top.
Oh,
then
it's my
that one's
signal.
on top,
And
and
let
on
him
and
unleash
on it
hell.
spins, crushing those on the ground.
Mother of Dragons is
And
Blathering
we're going to
on.
Stop the wheel.
This is all new footage, but I believe.
I don't know. See, if Apple Watch were
I'm
really
going to
cool,
break
then I
the wheel.
think that the Lannisters would be wearing them.
yes.
Oh, yeah, Apple
This is not
Watch.
a- this is
Yeah.
not a good sign.
Daenerys Targaryen should absolutely be wearing an Apple Watch and
Or-
nothing else.
Or they should have a customized version that's a Game of Thrones looking thing.
Oh,
with
they
a
might.
little catapult
You
on
know
it and
what?
stuff.
They might.
Yeah. Now, see, if this were 10 years ago at this event, everybody there would get like a big on exit, a big silkscreen poster of like a Game of Thrones character just with a Apple Watch like photoshopped on his wrist.
We serve the gods, and the gods demand justice.
I have to point out, this really is gratuitous. It's
Yeah.
sad.
Yeah.
It just
There's a lot of whacking and skewering
a
with
lot
swords.
of tech fans in the audience going, okay, yeah, we're going to watch it, but I think
yeah.
what about the watch?
Yeah.
It's like they had the one script for does somebody have to go to the bathroom backstage, and one, well, no one has to go to the bathroom, just have them walk off, and that's it.
HBO Now, $15 a month. Cable subscription required, exclusive to Apple TV, at least initially. It'll be in the App Store as well, which means you'll be able to put it on your iPad or your, I don't know, Macintosh. They did say Apple devices.
Yep.
For a limited time, the first month is free if you sign up on your Apple TV, iPad, or
That
iPhone.
is the Game of Thrones and HBO Now. Richard, thank you so much for joining us this morning.
This is what
and
we
thank you
in
for
the business
preparing
call
your
an amuse-bouche.
service on our product.
Just a little something to wake up your taste
Now,
buds.
Apple TV has become the category
That might also have
leader.
been a term of
We
the
sold
negotiation. Look,
over
you got to promote us at your
25
keynote. You can't
million
just
units
issue a press
so
release.
far.
Yep.
Great,
And it's
great
got a
publicity.
very attractive
Very Game of
entry-level
Thronesy.
price of $99. But today,
Hardware update.
we would like to make it even more accessible
cheaper.
Price-
for more
price
people
drop.
so they can take advantage of this great new content.
$69.
So we are lowering the price today to $69.
Nice prediction.
This is a sign that Apple's getting its 120 handed to them by competitors, that they drop the price on anything.
If you don't
Yeah.
have one yet,
Roku is
now's
just
the time.
so superior in so many
That
ways. Actually,
Apple
most ways.
TV will reinvent.
Roku is $99 for the top of the line, but they've often offered deals that get it down to $70.
Just the beginning. Next up is iPhone. iPhone not only created a category, it created a benchmark by which all other smartphones are measured. iPhone 6 and iPhone 6 Plus are widely considered the best smartphones in the world. Recently, we sold our 700 million iPhones.
700 million iPhones sold. Wow.
That's, of course, starting in 2007. That's in 8 years. It's not.
Now, iPhone is
that's much less impressive
stronger than ever. In fact,
Hey, well, come on. I'm just.
No, I'm sorry. I'm not razzing you.
It wasn't last month. It wasn't last year.
I'm just saying 700 million of anything other than McDonald's hamburgers is very impressive.
Yeah. Big to be growing by 50%. This led iPhone, propelled iPhone to be the top selling smartphone
only 20%.
in the world.
One of the different things about this is that they announced something, then they started bragging numbers.
Yeah, that's interesting. I think, Andy, you might be right. This might have been a prerequisite of the deal. And by the way, we want to lead the announcement.
Now, one of the great new features...
Because Apple TV is not necessarily a get, but getting HBO Go onto iPads as a subscription service is a good get.
Yeah. Apple Pay has forever changed the way we pay for things, and it's gotten off to the most amazing start and has enormous momentum. We started with just 6 banks in the U.S. They were the largest banks.
No announcement on Apple phone, iPhone, just let's get the numbers out.
But now, we have over 2,500 banks supporting Apple Pay.
And my live stream has just frozen.
We started with a great list of retailer partners. But now, in just 3 months later, we've tripled the number of locations that are accepting Apple Pay to nearly 700,000 across the U.S. And one of the really cool and convenient places that, that has come up out of Apple Pay are vending machines. Coca-Cola now has 40,000 of these in the U.S. and plans to have 100,000 by the end of the year.
That's kind of old news.
So if you're like
There's a vending machine at the
you've stood
train
in
station
front of
that
those
I
machines too many
that's had
times
that for a
trying to
couple years.
uncrinkle your dollar bill and get it to be recognized.
Once again, they're saying, well,
Those
NFC payments that have worked for a
over.
couple of years, now we're making it cooler because people are actually using them with our phone.
Right.
That is Apple Pay forever changing the way we pay for things. Now, when we announced iPhone, iPhone was a revolutionary mobile phone. It was the best iPod we'd ever created. And it was the internet right in your pocket. But now, it does so much more. We never leave home without it. And for the vast majority of us, it's never more than an arm's length away. And iPhone is continuing to transform even more parts of our lives. CarPlay is changing the way that we use iPhone in our car. And I'm pleased to announce today that now every major car brand has committed to delivering CarPlay.
This looks like basically a little tour of all the Apple technologies.
There's the Apple
and there will be more than 40 new models of cars shipping by the end of this year. This is only a year after we announced CarPlay.
I don't know if they can call this a success yet. It's still an outlier. But
it's changing the way we control our devices at home.
He said 40 new car models shipping by the end of the year.
We're working with a leading automation
I was talking
company,
about HomeKit.
many of which announced that their products will support HomeKit at CES, and even more will roll out through the year.
Tim tweeted that he slept in this morning and only got up at 4:30 a.m.
And positive impact
what a showboat.
that iPhone will make is on our health. There are already over 900 incredible apps
we're actually fortunate.
that help you manage
Seems
and
pretty
track
solid, and none of the
your
issues that last time.
Yeah.
But we have always wanted to make the biggest difference we could make. And as we worked on HealthKit, we came across an even broader impact that iPhone could make. And that is on medical research. And to tell you all about this, I'd like to invite Jeff Williams up. Jeff?
I love how Tim Cook always emphasizes things by talking slower and pausing longer.
Yeah, which I'm not sure is a good technique, to be honest.
Kind of takes the energy down.
Yeah.
I know medical research is not what you were expecting, but let me explain. When we were working on HealthKit, we talked to a lot of medical experts, and the conversation often turned to research and some of the challenges they face.
They're going to use the Apple Watch to harvest data for research.
That I would be surprised at.
One of the biggest challenges
Al Kent in the chat room says, eye blood sample. I don't know.
They often have to pay people
just
to participate.
Wearing the Apple Watch, turn your head and cough.
Section of the population. But the bigger issue is small sample sizes, sometimes 50 to 100 people, which limits our understanding of diseases.
This is kind of a surprising thing to lead with.
Another issue is
I think this is Tim Cook. It's clearly
the most common way to assess
hobby horse for Tim.
is to have a patient
and I think that he's probably moved this up a little higher than
the
it
physician
really
rates them on a
belongs.
scale of 0 to 4.
It could be just as simple as they're really proud of this. It also could be if I want to overthink this, they know they're going to be introducing a really stupid, crazy, expensive old thing, and they want to offset that with, oh, look how much we're helping people.
Right.
I think that one of the themes. Go ahead, Andy.
I've always said that HealthKit is one of the most important things that they're working on. It is ambitious. It can talk about materially helping people's lives. The ability to collect information day to day to day and track information day to day to day, not just from the watch, but from every other device, that some of which are going to be sold by prescription that are required. This could really save lives. You talk about how, let's do a slow motion video, people walking through a wheat field while talking about living your dreams, but this is going to save people's lives.
Should also mention the deal that 24 and me made to take that genetic information it was collecting, somewhat controversially, and provide it, anonymized, provide it for Parkinson's research.
Yep. That's
Research Kit.
Research Kit.
Wow. I think people will opt in. I'm sure it'll be an opt-in thing.
I think the subtext of all this is that the Apple Watch in particular, is going to be a real device, whereas others are kind of toys for harvesting information about biometrics.
I think that's the implication. I don't know if that'll be the reality. It's very difficult, and we know this. By the way, it's an iPhone, not an iWatch.
Yes.
Or Apple Watch.
Apple Watch, yeah.
Now, we didn't build it on our own. We've been working with experts from these institutions for the past year, and together we've built the first 5 apps, each targeted at some of the world's most serious diseases. Let me give you an example. Parkinson's.
According to
we worked with the University of Rochester,
journal, this was one of the motivating reasons behind doing a watch. But Apple struggled with getting these techniques into the watch for a variety of reasons. Battery life, inaccurate measurements, and FDA considerations. If you make recommendations, health recommendations, you've got to get FDA.
Here's consent you actually have to sign.
Turns iPhone into a diagnostic tool. Let me give you an example. There's a quick tapping test that evaluates hand tremors.
That's very interesting.
Or you can say into the microphone, and the processor
It's a great way to capitalize on an aging population.
Vocal cord variations that assesses the level of Parkinson's.
We baby boomers are starting to worry about all this stuff.
And remember that walk test? Now all you have to do is stick your iPhone in your pocket, walk out 20 steps and back.
Wow.
And the accelerometer and gyroscope precisely measure gait. And you can do that anywhere, not just in the doctor's office.
About how important this is.
Yeah. The other thing that I think is going to emerge over the next year or two is that the Apple Watch is not going to be a platform. The iPhone and Apple Watch together is the platform.
Notice this has nothing to do with the watch.
Activity data from your Apple Watch, from your iPhone, or other devices. Researchers believe that exercise can affect the symptoms of Parkinson's, but some believe that exercise may actually slow or even halt the progression of Parkinson's. And now researchers get a chance to look at that data. But here's the best part.
This is terrific because they're not going to really make any money off of Research Kit.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, if it makes it more valuable as a healthcare tool, that'll profit them. But there's really no money in creating a framework for developing apps like this.
But it does help them get in good with the doctors and so on who may be prescribing solutions for various things.
Easier ways to do that, though.
Looks at behavior and glucose levels.
Of course, you'd have to have some additional hardware to measure your glucose
For
levels.
cardiovascular disease, we've worked with Stanford Medicine and the University of Oxford.
I also think
on an app
this is a
that looks
way
at
for
heart
Tim
health.
Cook to find a balance between
For
wanting to
asthma,
use
we've
Apple's
worked with Mount
wealth
Sinai
and
on an
influence to make the world a
that
better place on the one hand,
purpose
and
is to
Steve
see if a
Jobs'
mobile app can
desire to
help a
never do
patient
anything like
manage
that on the other.
Yeah,
asthma.
Jobs was quite the
Now,
curmudgeon,
this
the
was
misanthrope.
available
Yeah, he said-
Tim Cook quite the
throughout
opposite.
US, but-
Yeah.
but
Steve
they're
Jobs said that we make the
really
world a better
neat
place by
New
making
York City
better
phase
products.
2.
Here's a product that does it. Instead of
Mount
just
Sinai
giving
is
money
giving
to
away
research,
spectrometers
they're
and glucose
facilitating it through their
inhalers
products.
for data
Dr. Mom,
access.
our
Famously
resident.
said
And
to
then
the
they've teamed
Go
up
ahead.
with
Cupertino,
Cornell
the
Medical
town board,
College,
and they asked, well,
they're
what if you,
actually
we'll give all these
swabbing
permits to build this
city
new campus, but what if you give us free
throughout New
Wi-Fi?
York City
And he said,
to
well,
look for
our
pathogens.
philosophy is that we pay lots of property
And then
taxes
the
so you can afford to
iPhone-
buy your own Wi-Fi.
Exactly.
Which is, frankly, I'm sympathetic. But it's nice to see Tim Cook reach out. Dr. Mom, our resident physician in the chat room, says she suspects this research kit was developed when the FDA said you can't really use HealthKit as a diagnostic tool. You can't, you have to get FDA approval if you say, oh my gosh, get to the hospital.
Sure.
You're going to have a heart attack. That needs approval.
I think their vision is to get there, though, where they do have the approval and can legitimize.
We remember the meetings with the FDA.
Yes.
It never was revealed what those were all about, but I suspect that what that was the FDA saying, well, okay, if you're going to do this, you need to have approval for this, this, and this. And shortly thereafter,
that are not well understood.
proposal was made. The FDA changed this rule somewhat, that some of this stuff did not need FDA approval.
Hoping to help them live a better day.
This is a public service announcement.
Now, let's talk about something really, really important. There is nothing more sensitive than your medical data. You decide what apps you participate in, what research you participate in. You decide how your data is shared, and Apple will not see your data.
You'd expect Apple to do this, right?
Yep. Google will. Just kidding.
Yeah.
We're
What about the
really
NSA?
excited about ResearchKit, but we thought it'd be great if you heard from the people who
The FDA released a draft memo, according to Dr. Mom, that said Apple could use this kind of data collection.
I've spent a large part of my career focused on a number of different diseases, from obesity, diabetes, heart disease, Alzheimer's, and one of the problems
is that they could use their ecosystem as a data collection tool. That enabled this research kit.
So for data collection, but not diagnosis.
Right.
Is research and data. What all researers want.
So, yeah, my guess is probably Apple went to the FDA and said, look, we're thinking about doing this.
Well, up until now,
Would this
when
be
nobody
okay?
wanted to do a research study, they might, put up a bunch of flyers around and hope.
I really think this is an example of the new Apple. I don't think Steve Jobs would have ever wanted to talk about diseases.
Completely agree.
During an Apple event.
Completely agree.
Letters. Those 60,000 letters have netted 300.
And by the way, if you're following along at home with your bingo card, you can now check the box that Steve would never have done this box.
Exactly. An ability to collect data.
Although this is a benign one.
ResearchKit is a framework. It's a framework.
What would Steve never
that
do?
enables medical researchers to
Yeah, this very
more
much has Tim
easily
Cook's
design the apps
stamp
that they're going to use for clinical.
And I like it. I like
Nothing
this
wrong with
approach.
it. It's
Exactly.
great.
Trying to
Big medicine and big data is a big issue in every field, and I'm sure
from data that might be
medicine and medical research would love to have more data points.
And the transition from Steve Jobs to Tim Cook has been gradual, but I think we can safely say this is Tim Cook's Apple. He's a rock star in his own right, and this is the new Apple.
Can be used
And
to
good
battle
on Tim.
disease is really simply amazing.
So we are almost half an hour in and not a whiff of watch.
Patients every day.
Meanwhile, the Samsung launch event was over in a half hour.
Yeah.
Yes, and no orchestra. No
So
classical
much
music,
better.
yeah.
So
Also,
much
to-
better.
To be fair, that's because Samsung didn't have to spend so much time talking about their successes.
Yes. That part was fairly short.
It's more efficient that way.
But this is it's interesting to see that this is the sort of firepower that Apple has, and this is how they choose to deploy it, where they can actually have those conversations with the FDA and have people on staff who are experts, who know that culture, who can get a project like this approved and really put it on its feet quickly. Other companies, they would have to hire in consultants and start to figure out even how to step forward with this.
Platform are simple structured tests that people can go through, things like tapping, or a voice test.
Apple also is
And
very
this can
clear
all be
about
done
what they want to
using
do.
the
You can
built-in
imagine
sensors
Google
on the
going to the FDA and
And
saying,
a
oh,
little bit
we
of
want to
code.
experiment with a
that?
bunch of
What
stuff.
about this?
What are the
And
things that
if it
we
works,
should
we'll keep doing it. It's a different
People at the
message.
center.
It's also
This is super important. I'm getting caught up now. Now my live stream is about 10 minutes behind.
Oh, jeez.
But I've had so many demos of medical stuff at the Media Lab where what they're working on isn't so much, hey, isn't it cool we've got this on an app, but the knowledge that, hey, look, in all kinds of parts of the world, they have phones, but they don't have access to medical care. So if they can have some sort of a diagnostic tool that they can just simply download, or that the local medical community can just put onto their phone, the ability to say, okay, that does sound like you've got a real breathing problem. This does not sound like that you've got just a cold. This vision test will show, yeah, you do have something neurological going on. You better come in for treatment. This is potentially life-saving stuff. It's very interesting for us who, again, has urgent care and long-term care within a 20-minute drive, but for other parts of the world, this is a game. This is clean water. This is good roads. This is a big deal.
Hilarious tweet by a designer at Magic Leap, the virtual reality company. He tweeted that something about the fact that they were talking about Apple Pay to buy sodas and then diseases that help you deal with the fact that you drank so much soda.
One of our chatters, Martin, points out that in some ways this is a legacy of Steve Jobs, who sickened and died, and they lost him at a very young age. And it's perhaps the case that Apple is much more aware of medicine and illness because of that.
And in fact, his death may have been premature because he didn't take action early enough.
Treatment. That's right.
We're gonna add to Research Kit over time, but we wanted anybody, anywhere, regardless of the platform they're on, to contribute. So we're actually going to make this open source.
Wow, that's great.
I've never heard the two words you have never heard in an Apple event.
It's not true. Darwin is open source. That's really great. I think that's the way to handle this.
Yeah, and hopefully they'll announce some apps as well.
We're releasing Research Kit next month, and the first 5 apps that you saw.
The speaker is
available
the Senior Vice President of Operations at Apple, Jeff Williams.
5 apps. The ones that they demonstrated are actually available right now, or today.
Is that EQ in the front row?
Apple has always believed that amazing things can happen when you put technology in the hands of the many.
Jeff is kind of Tim Cook's successor. Tim was the operations guy at Apple.
And
Jeff
motivated
was the
research
guy he
community
appointed
out
to
there.
Take over.
And we can't wait to see what they do with it.
Thank you. The logo for these icons is actually labeled with the research organization that deployed them. So there's no fanciful, oh, here's what a diabetes meter looks like, and here's what.
Right.
The iPhone continues to change so many things in our lives.
Jeff Williams is in charge of this. This is the guy who gets 75 million iPhones out the door.
Yes.
Transform medical research.
Actually, I think he's wearing that cardigan because he needs something to cover his sleeves.
We are so proud to be a part of it.
There's something under there, you think? Yeah, they're going down a little farther than usual.
Yeah.
Here we go. There's a watch on the left.
I'd like to talk about
This is the line. The MacBook.
This is the strongest.
We wanted to go to the left.
The audience is laughing. But I'm excited. I'm hoping we're going to see a Retina MacBook Air. That's the rumor.
To lead the industry,
Maybe
and
that
more
12-inch.
importantly, we continue to provide the very best experience for our customers. And this is the reason that for every year, for the last decade, the Mac has outgrown the industry.
For the second decade.
And if you look at notebooks, the numbers are even more telling.
Is it? Strange phrasing, outgrowing the industry.
Shrank, and the Mac grew.
It's possible Tim Cook is not wearing the
20%.
watch in his sleeve, but will open the jacket and have a bunch of watches inside.
Would you like to buy a watch?
You will see Macs everywhere now. They're in schools. They're in businesses. They're in coffee shops.
They're in
and
Microsoft
airports.
announcements.
That's right, exactly.
And hopefully they're in your living room.
This is such a skewed thing, though.
But the definition
Apple's the only place that can sell this one kind of notebook, this only kind of desktop. So I don't think it's quite accurate to really compare.
But
that
imagine Lenovo having it, talking like that, or any PC company, Dell. This is Apple is a strong brand. They've done a very good job.
Yeah, no shade on them. Just that if Apple introduces a new Retina iPad Air, Retina MacBook Air, then suddenly every single maker has a new Retina Air, and that's how.
Here we go, reinventing the notebook. This is remember everybody did a Ultrabook after Apple did the MacBook Air. You're right. This is the flagship product.
Yep.
You gotta know I'm feeling love.
Not much of a bezel on this. Very much.
No, now it's going to move closer to the edge, I think.
I see the bubble
there you
on
go.
the screen.
There you go. Look at that. Oh,
lifting.
my God, that's thin. And I don't see any connectors yet. Looks like it's gold.
That looks like a zero key travel keyboard.
Very much like the renders we saw of the 12-inch.
Yep.
I think they did it. Those renders were accurate. Look how thin that is.
Wow.
And I see one connector. It's the C connector. It's a gold MacBook Air.
Look at how the keyboard goes right to the edge.
Yeah.
I mean, this
is exactly what the renders showed months ago.
$350.
Dream on, Andrew. I have to say, I feel lust in my heart.
Are they just going to call it the MacBook? Wouldn't that be interesting?
Yeah, it's
you can slice a human hair with it right down.
Look at that. Look how light.
Unbelievable.
It's
Can
tiny.
you even see it? I can't even feel it.
If he had a sense of humor, he wouldn't be holding one. You can't even see it.
There it goes. It's disappeared.
I'd like.
It is gold. It is gold.
It is. It does look like 18 karat gold. It costs $1 million.
To tell you all about it.
Same dress, same colors as the iPhone.
I'm going over to store.apple.com. Of course, they're updating it.
Now they're trying to make a notebook that looks as much like an iPad as possible.
Phil Schiller on stage now.
I'm so excited to tell you all about this incredible new MacBook.
Disappointing bezel size, though.
It's the most
that's the C. It is exactly what they
notebook we have ever created.
I was hoping the bezels would be more like the Dell 13.
Reinventing every technology in it to deliver something this amazing. And it absolutely looks gorgeous from every angle.
Got some lit pixels there, though. No, that's space.
The new MacBook weighs just 2 pounds. Yes.
That's pretty light. The Dell is 2.5.
Yeah.
This is the lightest Mac we have ever made.
And
even at its thickest point,
it's the newest Mac we've ever announced.
13.1 millimeters thin.
Also the
That's
thinnest.
the thinnest Mac we have ever made as well.
13.1
The
millimeters.
previous thinnest Mac, here it is.
Look at the
11-inch
connector difference.
Air.
Yeah.
As you can see,
that's what that Type-C
the new
USB
MacBook
connector can do for you.
24% thinner.
I'd be interested to see what's on the other side. That may be the power adapter as well as the connector.
Huge difference.
Data connector.
And as you look around at every angle you see,
Let's see the other angle.
Well, this is an all-metal enclosure. The team has integrated the antennas right into the enclosure.
This is exactly what the renders showed. There's one USB Type-C connector and one headphone jack, and that's it.
Features, that keyboard, it has a full-size keyboard. It goes all the way to the edge.
Okay, good.
That actually defines the size of the notebook.
The notebook cannot be any smaller than the keyboard.
And it's not just any keyboard. It is an all-new keyboard.
Yeah, I thought the keyboard looked
As you move to a thinner design, it took an entirely new kind of invention
Mark Gurman
to
said
make
that they shrunk it down a bit.
beautiful keyboard. So the team studied how current keyboard technology works.
Yeah, the keys are slightly closer. See how she has to angle in like that? Wouldn't it be nice if the keys were just a little closer?
Keys get pressed, they're a bit wobbly. In fact, if you press them on the side,
this is such
they start to bottom out. That's because they're based on a mechanism called a scissor mechanism.
Oh, let's not do that.
And there was a time
Why don't we have
when
a
that was
membrane?
great. But now there's something new. Our team invented a butterfly mechanism. This butterfly mechanism is built of
or
a single
Lenovo
assembly.
owned Butterfly is associated with
And it's supported by a stainless steel dome switch. And that all adds up to a key that is much more precise and accurate.
No wobble.
In fact, it's 4 times more stable than that scissor mechanism. Yet it is 40% thinner, allowing us to
on the Apple page, it is clearly a gold
And we also made
notebook.
the keycap larger, making it even easier to strike and get a beautiful.
That's the Chinese. I got it. I have to think that's for the Chinese.
This is a slow motion
17% larger keycap, larger than what?
On the new MacBook, the keys are much more precise.
Bigger keys?
Much more accurate,
That's interesting.
Even if you strike them on the side.
But so little travel, and that that's going to be.
So they squish them.
Even
Did
in
they
the dark.
same size as the old one, but squish closer together, or are they comparing it to other
that's what they're
notebooks?
saying, yeah.
Only way to make them
LED for each key.
thinner is to have
17%
it
larger surface area
And more precise in its
on
illumination.
each key. Wow. That's nice.
So that's the first.
I don't care. I'm buying one. Just
on the new MacBook.
when?
All new,
How much?
full-size
I want one. Okay.
Well,
You
the
win,
perfect
Phil.
size display to match to that full-size keyboard is a 12-inch
Actually, I've been told
display.
that is not a gold. That is blue and black. I apologize.
Of course, it's a Retina display.
All right.
a Retina display.
What does that mean?
2304.
That's quite high
expensive.
resolution. Is it a 12-inch display at 2304,
That's just over
1440?
3.3 million pixels.
Wow.
It is a beautiful display. The panel is just 0.88 millimeters thin. This is the thinnest display we've ever built into a Mac. And those pixels have a larger aperture for light. What's that about? Well, an individual pixel is made up of red, green, and blue subpixels. The team has been able to
Can they get
miniaturize
this under
electronics
1,000?
and move
That's
them out
the
of the way.
question.
So
If they
more
can,
light
I think
comes
this is a
through
big
each
seller.
pixel. So at the same
seems
level of brightness, it actually consumes
unlikely, though, doesn't it? I mean, that's
30% less energy.
Retina display.
Such our thinnest
If they do
display,
that,
our
that's
most
amazing.
energy efficient
So
display.
it's 12-inch
It truly
display.
is the best display we've ever built onto a
That's a
Mac.
great move.
Yeah.
They're talking about increasing the size of the pixel apertures. That you think the next sentence is so it's brighter. So no, that means we can drive the display less, backlit it less, so that we can actually have 30% less power.
Yeah. At the top. And as you click on it, it moves like a diving board. So the top end is stiffer and the bottom end is softer.
What the heck?
Well, not with this trackpad. We call it the Force Touch
Okay,
trackpad.
this was also controversial.
It's a
People,
glass multi-touch surface.
the trackpad will
Built
not
underneath
move.
it are 4 force sensors. And for the first time in a trackpad, our taptic engine.
Both of those
that you've heard
are in
about
the Apple Watch.
is built into here as well. to
The
provide
taptic
feedback
engine.
of
This
your
is
clicking.
like a watch
This is an
trackpad.
incredibly thin,
That's
capable
cool.
trackpad.
So it's
And
interesting
for
how
the first
close the
time,
rumor mill
you can
was
click
on this
anywhere
one.
and get the
Almost
exact same
exactly
feel
right.
over the entire surface. It's not hinged like a diving board. And that feel, because it's managed in software, you can adjust it. If you want to have a stiffer,
Presumably
softer feel
Broadwell
to your
chipset in
trackpad.
there, the 5th
But
generation.
what it can do is so much more than that.
Intel chip.
Those force sensors sense a range of pressure.
See, and
From your
again,
lightest
the Apple Watch is pressure sensitive as well.
Right.
To a deeper
It's,
press.
they even call it the force
We've created
mechanism.
a new gesture for those deeper presses. We
Force
call them
click.
a force click. So how does that work? Well, in OS X, when you force click, for example, on a Word in a browser, you automatically get a Wikipedia lookup of that. If you're in
This
email
will
and you
be
see an
interesting
address,
to
you
see
force
how
click
this-
on it, and you automatically get a map that
well
pops
this
up with a
works.
location. Maybe someone has invited you and sent you a date and time. You force click on that, and it automatically creates a calendar entry. You can even force click on a file in the Finder and automatically
My
get a preview of
calculations
the
are correct.
contents
It's
of that file without even
228
opening the
pixels per
application.
inch, which is
And this is
absolutely retina.
a
no
range
less.
of pressure that the sensors
What he's
can
talking about
sense.
is
So in
pushing
drawing
hard is a
applications or
gesture
signing a
now.
signature,
It's
you
like a
want
textual
more
gesture.
accurate illustration.
I'm wondering how hard it's going to be to make that something consistent so that I can guess what happens when I force
Or
click
a
on something.
video.
Yeah.
You can press deeper on fast forward, and the deeper you press, the faster it goes.
Okay, that's good.
Wow.
I got that in just
I have to
2
admit,
clicks.
and I don't think I'm alone in this, that if I want something to happen, I press harder, even though I know it's not going to do anything.
It's
right?
a natural thing that people do.
You press the button harder on your mouse or on your remote control.
On the inside, it's
You're really
just
in a hurry.
So maybe this will be a natural gesture.
I like the. I
is
was
our latest
worried about the lack of a
unibody
clicky button
architecture.
because I like to have that feedback. But if you can really dial in the force so that you're very intentionally pressing down to make a click, that's good.
Devices and components directly to that structure, like that great trackpad.
This only Apple
put the
really can
logic
kind of
board
do this.
inside
Can
it.
say we're going to change everything.
This is the logic board.
We're going to put the
11-inch
accelerator on the
MacBook
left,
Air.
and
Obviously,
I think it's important for them to do this from
make
time
that
to time.
fit inside the new MacBook.
To rethink what a
Well, our
notebook
engineering
is.
team took on 2 really huge challenges with this.
But it will be
First,
controversial. I mean,
the device with
you know,
the
the single
circular shape
connector,
on
he
the
hasn't
right,
gotten to
well,
that
that's a
yet, but that's
fan
going to be very controversial.
with vents.
Apple is often criticized for
Team
making
designed this new
appliances, these
MacBook
black boxes that, don't worry your pretty little head about what's going on inside. But in fact, they
No
are
fan.
more into the nitty-gritty details of how things are designed
Right.
than inside them.
Well, this is a good example, and this is absolutely.
I'm guessing that the name of this is just going to be MacBook. This is such
the
an
new
Apple
Mac.
product.
It is remarkable. That's the new logic board inside the MacBook.
Look at the size of that.
They've miniaturized it.
They've learned a lot,
densest
obviously, from the
logic board
iPad.
Ever in a Mac.
It's an
It is
iPad with a keyboard.
67% smaller. That is 1/3 the size of the previous.
No fan is
smallest
going to be
logic
quite a
board.
challenge in
This
a
is insane.
case that size.
I'm also wondering about batteries.
It's powered by an Intel Core M, 5th generation, 14 nanometer
It is Broadwell.
process.
It is Broadwell.
You can configure it with speeds up to 1.3 gigahertz, which can be turbocharged, running up to 2.9
so they're running at a
gigahertz.
slower core speed.
And yet all that performance
and
just
in order to get
consumes
the wattage
5
down.
watts. It's
But it is Broadwell's 5th
energy
generation.
efficient.
Yeah.
So now we can fit that incredible minute logic board right inside the new
Dual,
Macbook.
this is a dual-core chip.
So what do we do with the rest of that
Intel's another
space?
killer ape. If they make a chip like this,
We
now
fill it with
everybody can make
batteries.
flat, lightweight, no fan.
6 batteries.
This uses Apple's asymmetric
I
battery
like
technology.
it.
You can see the cells are different sizes.
I like it because they're so
But the team
thin.
went
The
much
batteries
further
have,
with
they have to
battery
be more
chemistry
surface
in this
area.
new MacBook. Traditional cells are rectangular.
This
not
is
only
the
X and Y, but in
Intel
the Z
Core
thickness as well.
M5Y70.
Well, that doesn't work very well if you have a product this thin, this
This is a
contoured.
mobile processor.
If you try to fit a rectangular cell in it,
I believe.
you're left with a lot of empty space. And we don't want to
Said
ship
14
air,
nanometer.
we want to ship batteries. So what the team has done is amazing. They've created the batteries
Terraced,
sheets
contoured battery
that can be
cells.
terraced with contoured
5-watt
shapes that
processor.
fit the contours of the MacBook's enclosure.
This could be, we could be
So now
talking
you can
15,
fit
20 hours
technology
battery
inside
life
it
on this.
like this. It's
Yeah.
far more efficient.
So
in fact, we can get 35% more battery within the same space.
They're
by
showing
using
how the
contoured
batteries
cells.
taper through
And
this
that allows us
terracing
to deliver all
because
day
the
battery
case
life
does the
in
same.
the new
thing.
Mac.
All-day battery life. What does that mean? What is that? Is that 16 hours? Must be.
That's up to 9 hours wireless web, up to 10 hours iTunes
right.
movie playback, and so much more.
It's more like an iPad.
It is
But that's pretty
an
amazing.
innovative notebook on the inside as well as the outside. Now, how do you connect with the world? Well, this
You're
is
not
our
trading
vision
off
for the
web,
future of the
for the
notebook.
lightness.
Here's the
And
Type-C
the only
connector.
intelligent vision of the future of the notebook is one without wires. We don't have to plug up cables to connect to things.
With a 3.5 megapixel screen, there's
That's
going
why
to
we
have to
have
be some
both
GPU
dual
in there.
stream 802.11 AC.
I guess
and
it's
Bluetooth
Iris.
4.0 built in. With all the great new advancements.
I think it's a
in
dumb
OS
thing. He said the only
10,
intelligent vision of the notebook is one without
continuity,
wires. That's
you can
dumb.
connect and share like
well,
never before.
it's a new.
wirelessly.
It's
You can
much
connect
like an
printers.
iPad,
You
Andy.
can
It's an
connect to printers.
accessory.
You
It's
can
not
share
your
content.
main computer anymore.
Because this is
Or
the
is it?
vision for the future.
Points
of
to
the
a bad
notebook.
direction, though.
One of extreme portability.
It's awesome if you
watch
control
content on
every
TV,
aspect of the
you do it
world
with
you
AirPlay.
ever interact with, but
You want to
I
share
think this
files,
leverages
you
the
do it with
success of the
AirDrop.
iPad. This is very
absolutely. No,
much.
again,
You wanna get
even
on
if
a cellular
it
network
runs Mac OS, but it's designed to
your
make
MacBook,
people
you can
think of
initiate
Macs
Right.
as being more like
on
iPads.
your
Right.
iPhone. When you want to kick back and listen to music, you can do it wirelessly. With
You
some
have
very
to do it
cool big speakers
wirelessly.
and
Actually,
headphones.
don't. There is a headphone jack.
Now, of course, there is a time when it's really convenient to plug in a cable. That's when you want to charge quickly. So we do have a port on here for power. And the team decided if we're going to have a port on it, let's make the most versatile connector we've ever put in a notebook. And sure enough, they did.
It is. It's a
One
Type-C,
connector
USB
supports
Type-C.
USB
Yep.
data, DisplayPort, power, HDMI,
But not at the same time, my
VGA,
friend.
all through one connector.
I guess if you have enough juice, you're okay, right?
Yeah.
This, I think, is the first
technology behind
USB-C
This is a brand new standard called USB-C.
computer we've seen.
And Apple, along with a number of other companies, have all worked together to create this new industry standard.
I wonder
But
why
this
he's
is a standard.
see it
This is
appear in
not
more
Lightning.
products.
This is not an Apple
Just you
proprietary
here.
connector, which I like.
MacBook.
Yeah.
Here's the cable for USB-C. It's a third the size.
I'd
of a
love to
standard
see this
USB
on other
cable.
laptops, and then we'd
It's
have
easy
the
to
same
use
situation with
because
laptops we have with phones.
Yeah.
You don't have to buy. Up.
Yeah.
Phil's frozen.
Yeah, it's frozen up here too.
We'll refresh.
No more trying to dive underneath and figure out which way it goes. And it's the most
Again,
So glad to see
45
them.
minutes in
You'll see
and
downloads
no
from
watch.
Apple, as well as many
But
third
a
parties
very
that
exciting
support
announcement
all
with
Yes.
this
these
12-inch
all through one connector.
MacBook.
I got to say that I was at least
So this is the new
20%
MacBook
expecting
with
this to have a
incredible
Lightning port on it, so they
keyboard
keep it
with its
proprietary.
button
I'm glad they
mechanism,
went with a
its new
really good
multi-touch
standard.
Let's do it.
trackpad that's
Let's go for it. This is what Apple does so well.
perfectly matched 12-inch
They just
Retina
move to the
display with
future and they
over
say,
2.3
you know,
million
follow
pixels.
or get out of the way.
Our most dense logic board ever.
We'll lead.
Incredible new contoured battery
Gold,
technology,
silver, and space gray.
all packed into the thinnest, lightest,
There's the
most
space
beautiful
gray.
notebook we have ever made. Comes in silver, space gray,
Who's going to buy gold?
and a stunning gold.
Who's going to buy gold?
Yeah.
China.
Oh, I'm going to buy gold. So match my gold edition watch.
Notebook we've ever made. Energy Star 6.1.
Let's see the pricing.
Peak gold. Arsenic-free display glass. Mercury-free.
I think this is a
BFR-free,
very
PVC
compelling.
Free. The first time in a MacBook.
I was worried about the
beryllium-free.
rumors because
Of
it got
course,
a couple of
highly
things a little bit
recyclable.
off that made it sound really weird.
And I think the team's probably
But as
proud
usual,
of this
you really got
next
to hear the
one. It's
story that they're
also
telling behind it.
the world's most energy efficient.
And this is not going to be the
notebook.
only MacBook they make.
Can they get one under? Can they get a $9.99 out of this?
We really love
Probably
and
not.
are proud of this new MacBook. And I have a brief video to tell you more about it.
I mean, they could start it off pricey and then bring the price down after a year.
Yeah.
The new MacBook
Here
is
we
the
go.
result of a
Here
collective
we go to the
obsession
white room.
Take a drink if he says
to
aluminium.
simplify its essential components to create the most efficient design
Apple is so
possible.
adept at creating techno-lust.
Yeah.
It's
This is
a product
amazing.
that couldn't exist without invention across many disciplines. A full-size keyboard.
I would buy an
is the
audiobook
most
read by
familiar,
Johnny Ive.
Oh, yeah.
comfortable, and accurate type.
Might be a long audiobook.
It defined the width of
Best
the
of
new
times.
MacBook.
It was the worst
Worst
of
To make
of
it
times.
time.
thinner,
Keyboard
and more
keys can actually
precise,
float in
Must be
space
created a sturdy
independently.
single assembly butterfly mechanism. Combined with a new
You really see
stainless
the
steel
impact
dome
of design
switch,
on
this
Apple.
reinforces the keyboard's balance and
I hope they paid attention to improving the feel of the keyboard, because that's my biggest disappointment of my MacBook.
Sounds like they have. I mean,
See, I'm
there's a lot
okay
of
with
attention on a
making-
keyboard here.
I'm okay with the idea of they made it super, super thin and sacrifices must be made. So I'm perfectly fine with that sacrifice being made for this device. I was just surprised that they screwed up the keyboard on the Mac Pro, that's all.
To engineer the thinnest retina
Looks like they
screen for a
didn't
Mac,
just,
we
they're
refined
explaining what they
every
did. We didn't just find the cheapest, thinnest keyboard we could. We actually built
down
something.
to the pixels. It
But the
delivers
price is going to
vivid
be very
brightness
telling.
and
If they're going to think
performance
about this as a,
you'd
this is the
expect, but in
pricey
design, it's
executive
thinner,
model, or
lighter,
no, this is our version of the
30%
Mac
more
Classic,
power
of the Mac Plus, the one that we think that everybody should be buying.
We've designed.
I'm also very pleased to see that haptic feedback and force touch in that trackpad. There's so many things that were kind of incomplete about Mark Gurman's thing. If you had a trackpad that only operates via touch, that's a real minus for a lot of people, including me. But if I can actually say not just contact, but I have to press hard to make a click, and I'll get some sort of tactile feedback back, that's a worthy trade-off for me.
And we've been waiting for, presuming, we can assume this is HD haptics, I think they call it. I think that's what Immersive calls it. We've been waiting for this for how many years? A decade? It was about to come out and just have these really high, it's not just buzzes and vibrations, but feels like other things.
Right.
Hopefully this is one of those types of haptic engines.
Chemistry of the cells,
Taptic engines.
which are now manufactured in discrete sheets.
Still 45 minutes in, still have not seen anything about the watch.
Developed along with the
I think it's going to all be about software.
Well, they pretty much announced the Apple Watch already. So there's, I'm not
But
sure
they
how
haven't
much
told the
there's
story about it.
Yeah.
They have to now tell us, here's why people would want one, apart from the fact that we're Apple and we made it.
And talking out in the chat room, it doesn't appear to have a built-in speaker. That can't be.
Components were
I don't see one.
They didn't mention it.
to fit together.
Well, you don't need to mention it, but you do need to put it in.
Yeah.
Mac logic
So
board yet.
all the components are falling down into place. Let's see if we can see a speaker.
Any we've designed before. A fundamental goal.
With the Apple Watch also, they'll have to trot out a couple of app developers.
Or any moving parts.
I think get a 4 gig version, 128 gig hard drive for $9.99, but I think it's $12.99.
I think I spotted a transducer up there in the upper.
Do you see it?
left?
Okay.
We were able
Wouldn't take much. You don't need a big speaker.
Oh wait, and those, yeah.
This innovation,
What are those gold things in the
along
back?
with its unibody enclosure,
They're just there to make it more expensive. This gold.
metal MacBook.
Little bricks of gold.
That's beautiful.
This product is not only thin
Just
and
amazing.
light,
I mean,
it's advanced.
There's just
wireless
nothing in there
technologies
but tiny,
make it
tiny amounts of
truly
electronics and just battery.
We actually need to plug in the new USB Type-C connector.
It's like this notebook is trying to.
I'm actually
sneak
thrilled. There's the speaker right there.
Speaker built at the front. Yeah, so those big squares at the top.
Yeah, because there's no fan.
The result of all of
This is a remarkable
product that's only
kind of
13.1
melding between a
millimeters
laptop
thick
and an iPad.
and weighs just 2 pounds.
I wonder if they'll put the C on the next generation iPads.
To create the new MacBook,
They've got to. Well,
in its design and engineering.
maybe.
Wouldn't it be great if they made an external keyboard and trackpad that had the technology? If they're adding a new gesture, they kind of have to now. They have to reintroduce their Bluetooth trackpad. Otherwise, developers are going to support it, but it's not going to take
No, you
off.
need a new Magic Pad.
What if they came out with an iPad where the entire thing was like that kind of trackpad?
All right, availability and pricing next. And
There we go.
That's going to be a big one.
Moment of truth.
Both for the watch and the MacBook.
Hashtag MacBook Lust.
Yeah?
The new MacBook starts with 12.1-inch
8
Retina
gigs
display,
memory.
a 1.1
256
gigahertz
SSD. This is a
Intel Core M,
$12.99 product.
a large 8 gigs
It's interesting
of
that
internal
the
memory,
base model is
and a large
pretty
256
loaded
gigabyte
compared to
flash
previous
storage
Airs.
device
Yeah.
at just $12.99.
Yeah, that's $12.99. And that's kind of the
For those,
benchmark price.
I would have been shocked if it was under 1,000. But that's a good price.
And twice that internal storage for just
I wonder if there was any discussion about actually putting a SIM tray in there.
Absolutely incredible.
Interesting, wouldn't that be?
Hard to imagine where they put it, but
for
it
LTE,
seems like it's a very logical thing to have.
April 10th. April 10th. I bet you that's the watch ship date as well.
Yes.
That's 1 month from today.
You're spending.
And MacBook Pro.
Go ahead. Just break the card.
You're spending $13,700 for the watch. Why not round it up to an even 15 grand?
The MacBook Air is being updated to faster 15.
So they are keeping the Air as kind of a higher end.
Faster Thunderbolt connectors.
So the Air is now the Pro device.
13-inch configuration gets flash that's now twice as fast as before.
Wow.
And those will be shipping starting today.
New Airs today.
Yeah.
And the 13-inch MacBook Pro has an update as well. It's getting the new Force Touch trackpad that we just talked about with MacBook.
So you're going to see this across the line,
also in the 13-inch MacBook Pro. It's getting faster processors with faster Core i5 and i7 processors, and it's getting twice as fast flash as well. And we've been able to get another hour of battery life out of it. Now
Great
10
battery
hours
life
of all-day battery life.
That's always been an amazing device.
And that's shipping today as well. And that is our news on the MacBook.
And here comes the watch. Here comes the watch.
I don't know. It could be a car. It could be a TV. I don't know. At this point, I'm not predicting.
It's really awesome. I think you're really going to love it.
Yeah.
Now I'd like to turn
that is
to
a
the
Broadwell
newest
chip.
edition
By the way,
of
that's
the
a
Apple
14-nanometer
family.
chip.
And of course, I'm talking about the Apple Watch.
Right.
The Apple Watch is the most personal device we have ever created. It's not just with you, it's on you. And since what you wear is an expression of who you are, we designed the Apple Watch to appeal to a whole variety of people with different tastes and different preferences.
Rich people, pretty rich people.
But the one thing is consistent. We crafted each one of them with the care you would expect from Apple and used incredibly beautiful
presidents and
materials.
kings all the way to the scum of the earth.
Like this stainless steel and sapphire crystal. Anodized aluminum. And a jaw-dropping, beautiful 18-karat gold.
What about the price?
The price will drop your jaw if the gold doesn't.
Now, in addition to being a beautiful object, the Apple Watch is the most advanced timepiece ever created. It's a revolutionary new way to connect with others, and it's a comprehensive health and fitness companion. So let's start with time. Apple Watch is incredibly accurate. It's accurate within 50 milliseconds of the UTC. That's the universal time standard for those of you that don't know. That means it's super accurate. You don't have to worry about it.
60 milliseconds late for something, you can't blame your watch anymore.
Now, in addition to this, every Apple Watch has many different faces and many different configurations. So you might like this traditional face. It's absolutely gorgeous. Or you might like one that's available in a variety of different colors. Or a digital face that's full of rich detail. Or one that is simple and elegant. You also might like one that expresses time in a way that's never been done before. Or one that is just fun.
Mickey Mouse watch. Yeah.
And it will bring a smile to your face every time you look at it.
I want a goofy one.
We all need that. But this is just the beginning.
I love the toe tapping. That's awesome.
The gold one has Scrooge McDuck.
You can add many details to the face that you choose. You can add things like the date.
Unless they Mr. Burns.
You can add the world clock. You can add a stopwatch. You can even add your next
with
meeting.
Apple software. They haven't announced
more.
third-party watch faces yet.
Now, Apple Watch also has a new feature that's called Glances. And Glances allows you to check things very quickly for those things you check most frequently. So if you swipe up from the bottom of the watch face, you can see things like weather, your calendar, Glances allows you to
Tartine
control
Bakery.
your music.
Let's hear for Tartine. Nice shout
Did it say
out.
Tartine?
Yeah.
All right.
Chad Robertson. Nice going.
Get in line.
Your heart rate.
Time to get in line for your
And
bagel.
this is clearly not mine at this point in time.
That's great.
Now, as you see, Apple Watch brings a whole new personal dimension from timekeeping that's never been done before.
These renders make the screen look awfully good. If
Now,
you,
Apple Watch also allows you to communicate immediately and much more
I think
intimately.
this was too quickly dismissed last time. This is going to be pretty appealing.
Person to person.
Right from your wrist, you can receive messages. And the Taptic engine alerts you by tapping your wrist so that you can read and respond to that message instantly if you want. You can also, with the built-in speaker and microphone, you can receive calls on your watch. I have been wanting to do this since I was 5 years old.
Yes.
And the day is finally here.
Yep.
Did we know that we could do that?
We knew it had a microphone.
We knew it did, but like for Siri, we know that. But I don't know if we could.
You can read
make
full
phone
emails.
calls.
There must have been a lot of noise cancellation.
Mark them unread, you
They had
can
a solve for
flag
that.
them, or you can delete them and get rid of them.
Anything they didn't mention in September is something
But there's
maybe that they
also
weren't
some
sure was going to be ready.
all-new ways to communicate with Apple Watch that have never been done before. For example, if you press the side button, you can bring up your friends.
No,
And
there's
you can
two
connect
controls.
Apple Watch to Apple Watch with a new technology.
You can touch. See the
called
button in the middle?
Digital Touch.
Digital touch. This is what's
allows
going
you
to
to
be
do
cool.
things like sketch on your watch, and that sketch
We heard
will be animated
told us
on
an
your
Apple
friend's
employee
watch
told him
exactly as you drew it.
when he wanted to go to lunch with his friend, he just drew an L.
Yeah, yeah.
You can
Tap me when you're ready to go.
Yeah.
And the best part is you need two watches to do it.
And you can even send
Trying to talk Lisa
your
into getting one
heartbeat.
so she could see my
This
heart
is an
rate.
incredibly intimate way to tell someone you're thinking about them. I'm hoping someone sends me one of those.
Aw, Tim.
I think you're going to have a blast with these
What's your
new
private
digital
number?
touch features. A whole new way to communicate. Now,
That is
Apple
an
Watch is
opportunity for a whole
also
bunch of new social apps,
comprehensive
things that he has not
health
thought
and
about.
fitness
Not to
companion.
mention lie detector
You know, we make products
apps.
that enhance people's lives. And the Apple Watch carries that to a new level. We want people to be healthier by being more active. And so the Apple Watch tracks your daily movement. It tracks how long you're exercising or getting brisk activity. And it even reminds you
So far, I think
if
this
you've
is
been
all stuff
sitting
we
too long.
know about, right?
With a
Which is
little more
about now,
details, a couple of interfaces we didn't see
if you're
before.
wearing one.
I think,
And
to
it-
me, I don't
it all
remember being
comes
able to
together in
conduct a
this
phone call
elegant, simple
on the
three-ring
watch.
graphic.
I don't remember seeing that.
You
No.
can
They didn't say you
immediately see
couldn't,
all
and
of
there
those
was
dimensions.
speculation to that effect. But no, I
As a matter
think
of
this
fact,
is
I'd
the
even
first
for-
confirmation.
I'd even forgotten
Now,
that it had a speaker
The
a
Apple
few
Watch
weeks
will
ago.
also send you reminders as a friend would to remind you
I'm
to
still
be more
worried as hell
active.
by
And in
that big
fact,
constellation of apps.
at the end of the week, on a Monday, it will send you a report of how you did the previous week.
I don't want that.
Take
And it
that,
will
moves
even
owned by
suggest
Facebook. Yeah,
a
right.
new move
Who needs that
target
kind of
for you
aggravation
for
on a
the
Monday?
coming week ahead. It's like having a coach on your wrist.
It even blows a whistle at
A
you.
coach or a nudge?
Apple Watch also has a new
We've got
workout
the new
app.
nudge-stick feedback
This
engine.
new workout app allows you to do things like running and cycling, or you can pretty much do any machine that's in your gym today.
It's pretty clear
And it will
that no matter
provide
what features they
detailed
talk about,
metrics
no one really is
about
going to
your
know how
workout that
this
you can see during your
is
workout.
until you
Things like
actually
how many
wear it for a while.
calories you're
And I
burning.
think that's going to be the big shocker.
The distance you're
The
traveling,
combination of the user
time.
interface elements is going
All
to
of these things are very
literally be
easily
addictive.
tracked while you're
Yeah,
using
I think
the
that's
watch.
possible.
Yeah.
And so that is a brief summary of health and fitness on the Apple Watch. But we thought to bring these capabilities to life, we would give an Apple Watch to a friend of ours. And we did
Dr.
that.
Dre?
You may know her as one of the world's top fashion models.
Oh.
She's
Gazelle Bunchen?
also
If it's Heidi Klum, I will
a
just die.
member of the Time magazine.
Oh, I hope it's Heidi Klum.
Top 100 most influential people in the world. She's a mother and
Cindy
a
Crawford?
maternal
Cindy Crawford.
health advocate.
Kate
She's a
Upton?
member of the Harvard Medical School Global Health Council.
Richard Simmons.
And an advisor
Christy Turlington Burns.
Of public health.
Idina Menzel.
She also founded Every Mother Counts, which is a nonprofit organization that is dedicated to safe pregnancy and childbearing for every mother.
No, Chelsea Handler.
She is incredibly
Kathy Griffin, they got
impressive.
her in a cage somewhere.
She is Christy Turlington.
Christy Turlington. Yep. There's Angela Ahrens sitting next to Craig Federighi.
Craig Federighi's hair has its own chair.
I know, it's awesome.
Christy also, in her spare time,
Maybe that's Chris Breen's new job.
Why isn't she wearing a watch in that picture?
What is Chris Breen's new job? Making Craig's hair?
Well, to be like Craig Federighi's hair decoy. Like they send them out in the field, someone to attack Fred Federighi's hair.
And we were able to video some of her experiences in Africa while she was running the marathon, and I'd like to show it to you now.
Well, half marathon, let's be.
And that's who the watch is for. Marathon running supermodels.
Yeah. It's aspirational.
Health and fitness has
Yes.
always been part of my life.
I just can't lose those final 7 ounces, you know?
I got to point out, though, putting it on a woman's wrist is important. I think it's a very important point, because no smartwatch to date looks good on a woman's wrist.
Right.
It's a big part of why I run.
And frankly, it looks a little big on Christy, but I think her wrist is about 3 inches.
But it's within the realm of credibility.
Yeah. No, it doesn't look horrible.
I mean, I see a lot of women wearing Moto 360s, and those seem to be the ones that women. When I've seen a smartwatch on a woman, and it's not a Pebble, it's a Moto 360. It's the Android Wear that people seem to like, but it's only because it's round and it doesn't look quite so strange. It's still kind of big on her wrist, but it's within the realm of normal, and still has to run with that big phone strapped to her.
Yeah, that was awkward looking.
It'd be a good time to mention that our show, Breaking News coverage, brought to you by Gazelle.com. If you want to raise money for your new gadgets,
you're gonna need it.
Go to Gazelle.com. You don't have to come to me, but let's keep watching Christy. I'd much rather watch her, but if you want to save up for your new Apple stuff, Gazelle.com will buy it. Great prices.
And she's in Africa. There may be a gazelle in the background.
Running behind her. Yeah. Because she's so fast, Gazelle.com. We'll do a full Gazelle ad later. I just wanted to get a little plug, and thank you to Gazelle for sponsoring our coverage.
I will say that I do, having seen the fitness apps firsthand, they do look really cool. It's the first fitness apps that I really think that would really get me to absolutely change the way that I work. In that, not only the one on my Moto 360 is good to just give me a sense of, okay, well, it's 4 p.m. You're still only halfway toward your step goal, but I like the feature of the Apple Watch that says, look, you have not been moving that much.
Right.
Steps or no steps, you need to.
Right.
You've been inert you've been sitting down and not moving much for the past hour.
Yeah.
So
they should have a little thing that tells how much of your life has been shortened, you know, by sitting.
Arrived back in the U.S. from Africa yesterday afternoon. But despite that, she graciously accepted our invitation to be here with us this morning. And I'd like to invite her on stage to talk about her next big adventure. Christy? Christy, we're incredibly inspired by what you're doing. We have always been about trying to, make a difference.
Just saying, I'd be more happy for
you
Heidi
are clearly doing that.
Thank you so much, Tim. It's such an honor to be here. Tanzania was an incredible experience and such an amazing opportunity to raise awareness for Every Mother Counts.
Now, how did the Apple Watch help you run this half marathon?
She must weigh
just
80
in case
pounds.
I eventually wind up running one.
she looks very fit.
Well, I relied on it quite heavily, actually. The race was pretty challenging, and there was a lot of
He's taller than Tim, and Tim's
I saw something for the first time. I'd be very impressed if in a lot of their messaging, they don't use the Nike spokespeople. They just said, people like me walking. Looking very doughy and lumpy, but doing a lot of walking.
This is my fashion favorite, I have to say. I've been using the rubber band mostly for my training and my racing.
Oh, yes.
We don't call that rubber, Christy. Oh, he's got his on. There he goes.
This is my chic one.
Slides up the sleeve.
Well, you've got a big adventure coming up. You want to tell us about it?
Yes, in about 8 weeks.
That is
I'm
weird.
going to be running my first race, well, my London Virgin Money Marathon in the UK.
How tall is
it's like
Christy
the biggest
Turlington?
Marathon, and I'm hoping to beat my record.
Christy Turlington is 5 feet 10 inches tall.
Apple Watch is going to help me get there.
Wow.
How much does she weigh?
Come on.
Let me have a look. Here's what I found on the web for how much does Christy Turlington weigh.
4 marathons for you and 0 for me.
119 pounds?
We are very happy to be a part of it. We want the Apple Watch to help you prepare
awkward
for this
exchange is kind of Samsung-esque, isn't it?
Yeah,
I don't think so. That's.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
It's a departure for Apple.
Well, they've always had celebrities. They've always had celebrities on.
Well, I think maybe they have to say you have to put in a break in for people who have to type things and post things during the middle.
Weekly blog.
I think a supermodel is well, maybe it is the way to sell a
all
watch.
of you people like me that are wondering what it takes
Targeting
to
the
prepare,
fashion.
check
It is
this
more
blog
fashion
out.
focused.
Who's going to play the closing number?
Now, so Apple Watch
Not Bono.
be
I think we can
incredibly
pretty
rich
much be sure
and
Bono will
integral
not
part
be
of your life.
It's also very rare to have a woman on stage during an Apple
She looks
event.
great. She's 46 years old. She looks
Customizable
fantastic.
timepiece. It's a revolutionary new way
But
to
she's
connect with others.
a genetic miracle.
And it's a comprehensive health and fitness companion.
Not
she
anything
has to
I
work
can
to be fit.
identify with. She works at it. All right, I'm sure she does.
That is really
She ran
just the
a half
beginning.
marathon.
Because you will also learn that you can pay with Apple Pay using your Apple Watch. You can view your photos. You can control your music. And you can interface with Apple Watch with Siri just
It's interesting.
using
If you
your
go to
voice.
apple.com, it immediately redirects you to
And
the live event.
one
They,
of my
they
favorites.
really want people to go
You
there.
can get notifications on Apple Watch. You can receive any notification that you receive on iPhone today.
What
you
do
can
you
receive
do
on your watch.
to prepare
So you can
people for
keep
the
track
price here, Andy?
Of
What-
your
what-
favorite sports teams.
Is it just say, here's all the great stuff you can do? What do you do?
There's a few Duke fans
They really
here,
have to tell the
including one on
story. I mean, I
stage.
use the word alibi. You got to get your story straight, or else you're not going to get away with anything. And by getting away with anything, I don't mean that in an offensive way. I mean, you can't just simply. One of the problems with Android Wear and selling it is that they said, here's the design, here's what it can do. Go figure it out, in a sense. If they make a really good picture of here's everything we put into it, here's how we thought about it, and now here is a really good beginning, middle, and end story of how this will help people out and how people will find it valuable. That's what gets people to, hey, you know what, maybe I don't have $350 in my pocket right now, but hey, next time I'm in the mall, I'm going to check it out.
A few of those this
Here
morning.
come the apps.
And to do that,
And we heard that
I'd
there
like
would be
to invite
quite a
Kevin
few apps
Lynch
shown
on.
today.
Kevin?
Yeah, it's got to be.
100 developers in the audience.
This is going to be just like the iPad, just like the iPhone. It is a blank screen for apps.
Right.
Yes.
I'm really excited to show you Apple Watch in action. And using Apple Watch during the day is really about brief interactions. Many of these are just a few seconds long.
This is Kevin Lynch
to give
on
you a
stage.
sense of what it's like
He's
to
the
use these apps on
CTO
the
who
watch,
came
we'll use
over
some
from
moments in
Adobe
time,
and has
kind of
really
like a day
led
in
the
life
charge.
of
He's
Apple
been
Watch,
managing
if
the
you will.
Apple Watch
So
team.
let's start out at work. So here I am at work, and I like to be able to look at my watch without pulling my phone out all the time. And I can see important notifications, messages from VIPs.
People
quick
complain
looks
about
at
the
information with
Apple Watch
glances.
battery life,
Some
but this will
glances I might
extend
look
the
at here.
iPhone's
For
battery
example, I
life
can
because
just
you won't
swipe
be
up to the
turning it on
bottom.
all the time.
I can see the current stock market.
I find that to be the case
I can
with
see
the
some
360.
business information using Salesforce Wave here.
It's fun to watch the
I can
stock
look
market
at sports
respond
scores using MLB.com at
to
bat
this.
glance.
It
And I can
it went
see
up quite a bit,
top trend on Twitter, which is, I guess, this event right now. which is
starting
great.
at 1 o'clock to
And
1:50,
then,
but is
this is the
now,
American Airlines glance, so I can look at
as of
upcoming
11
trips. So, for
a.m.
example, I
our
might be
time,
going
about
to
10
New York
minutes
pretty
ago,
soon, and I can see my
dropped a
departure
bit.
information here.
From
Now,
a
that
peak of
actually
129
questions
to
about
128.
New York, so I'm going to ask Siri here. I'll just start Siri by pressing the
But it
crown.
is up on the day still.
Press the crown to talk to
What's
Siri.
the temperature in New York? Oh, it's getting warmer there. Now,
Siri did not
I
speak.
can also interact
No.
with Siri just
It will-
using my voice, like this.
It will give you quiet,
Hey
silent
Siri,
responses.
how about the rest
I
of the
think.
week?
Oh, Hey Siri works on this
Hey
too.
Siri works on this, which is great.
Oh, it looks like I've got a good
Something
forecast
added
here.
to the iPhone this generation,
Pretty cloudy,
probably to
though,
get
so
us
I'm
used to
gonna
that
remind myself
idea.
to bring an
Yeah,
umbrella.
but I think
I'll
that's a
use Siri
great
for that too.
feature.
Another-
You
another
talk to Siri and
I
it
need
doesn't
to
talk
pack
back
my
audibly.
umbrella
Another
when I
idea
get
that
home.
Apple copied from Android. That's just sad. Really just sad.
Well,
Great.
the
It's
problem with
getting
Hey
a
Siri
little
is
bit
it's
lighter for me.
very
I can
easy
see
to
that, so when I get home, I
inadvertently
will remember to
trigger.
pack the
And in
right
fact,
thing.
we've just
It's
triggered
great
it
to use
a
Siri
couple of
to make
times.
yourself remember
on-
things
I
throughout the day
apologize
like
to
that.
people at home.
Oh, I see. I've got a
It is
message coming
conspicuously
in.
American,
I get
too.
messages with a variety of apps. This one is from WeChat. It's a friend of mine from China.
Yeah,
I'm going
WeChat
to be
is
meeting for dinner
the,
at
kind of the
looks like
WhatsApp
you picked a
of
place, Fig and
China.
Olive. I can reply just by tapping on a button on the notification. It
Interesting
opens
that
the
that
WeChat
notification
app
just
on my
pinged.
watch. And there's
I've heard a couple of pings now.
They're going to want to make sure you have the ability to turn that damn thing on.
Importantly, the pings come with haptic responses simultaneously.
Well, but I don't think anybody wants the watch to be just going bing, 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 bing throughout the day.
Very emotive, as you can see.
But you might want it. Haptic would be the better.
But it would be both. That's
you got haptic.
The combination of the haptics with other inputs is the #1 thing that's going to sell this phone. Guaranteed. It's going to be more thrilling than the initial iPad or iPhone was. With
you need to have an ongoing
It
relationship.
feels good to your brain to do that stuff.
If you already get up and stand, of
course, it'd be better if it pinged and gave me a Pez.
People are going to have phantom
haptic. That's a really
haptic.
great way to interact with the watch.
Yeah, lose the watch.
You're still going to feel it. I feel somebody's heart.
Wouldn't that be interesting?
It's going to happen.
It's all going to depend on how well the developers support that. If there's a signature buzz for different things, you can discriminate. That's fine. If you're always hearing these indiscriminate swirls of vibration on your wrist,
but again,
that's something you turn off.
But many of these are not going to feel like vibrations. That's the difference between regular haptics that we're all familiar with and the ones we haven't tried yet.
Well, I felt them, and they're
little handheld one. So when you put your watch
it's more subtle, but it's not like it's a whole new thing.
Yeah.
That's it. You're done. Super easy to use.
You will be able to associate individual patterns with individual people. So you feel a certain pattern, you go, oh, that's so-and-so. And that's a feature that's been in the iPhone for a long time,
You don't have to bring the watch face and touch the merchant terminal. As soon as you get close to it, you'll get the audible noise that you heard, and you also get haptic feedback on your wrist, so you know the transaction was done. Super easy to do.
And of course, this extends Apple Pay to all the way back to iPhone 5, so this is a huge part of it. If you have an older iPhone, you still will be able to use Apple Pay
with my Apple Watch, and I don't have to have my phone with me all the time.
Once you authenticate it, as long as it remains on your wrist, so if you're going to steal somebody's money using the phone, you have to cut their arm off.
To another one. I like to use the Mickey face, so I'll select that one. There we go. That's a lot of fun.
I think that'd be a lot of fun for about 10 seconds.
Of course, while I'm at home, or incoming photos from my
friends. Well, the cool thing is,
or if I like, I can just
Moto 360, sometimes I just change faces because I'm bored.
Right.
Changing faces is like 6 or 7. Yeah.
And photos from my friends on Instagram.
You're not stuck with
Instagram photos. That's interesting.
I can tap on that glance. It takes me to the Instagram app on my Apple Watch, and here I can see some photos. Some really beautiful photos.
This is coming from the
right on the watch face here. I can use the crown to quickly scroll through them to see one that I might like. Here's a nice
you have to have
forest
Instagram
photo.
on your phone, but
if I tap on that, I can see more information.
I have that picture.
He launched that off of a notification.
54 people have liked it.
Yeah.
I'll like it too. I just tap on the heart there.
He's at this point not touched the phone at all.
So it's a lot of fun to use apps like Instagram.
No, I mean that he didn't launch it off of an.
No, it was from the application. It was a notification
off of the central app he sees on the watch.
No, it got a notification.
And I'm expecting to get a call to see when he's ready. I don't want to miss that call, of course.
Call.
So here comes
Bow Wow Meow is calling.
Bow Wow Meow. Now I can answer
when
this on
somebody
my
named
watch,
Bow Wow Meow calls you, you answer.
I go yo yo yo.
If I like. I'm going to answer right on my.
Hey, what up,
watch.
dog?
This is great.
Hi, this is Kevin.
Hi, Kevin. This is Vera calling from Bow Wow Meow. Your dog Finnegan is ready to be picked up.
Okay, great. I'll be right over as soon as the event is done. Okay.
Notice he's not really having to speak right into the watch. That's going to be important too, because you don't want to look like an idiot.
Dick Tracy.
Tracy talking into your watch.
Calling all cars. Calling all cars.
Look where he is, a place with no background noise, though.
Well, that's true.
It's really easy to take those calls wherever you are. And the great thing is that Apple Watch communicates with your iPhone over Wi-Fi as well as Bluetooth. So when you're home, you don't have to be within Bluetooth range of your phone. You can be anywhere in your house and still get all your messages and take your phone calls just like that.
I thought it was Lil Bow Wow,
Super
but it was
cool.
actually his dog.
Now, if I was going to go to the airport, I might want to call a car. So let's look at doing that with Uber. So I just press the crown to go to my home screen, and over here I have an Uber app. And it will show me I've got a car within 2 minutes. I'll press request.
That's one issue.
You rehearsed it 35 times.
Well, yeah, but I mean,
the corner of 20th and Dolores here in San Francisco.
You're gonna have to memorize.
That's a lot faster when you want to enable something than on Android Wear.
My driver's name is
yes,
Scott.
it was very lickety split.
So I think
Android Wear is emphatically designed so that you're not messing around with apps.
Right.
There it is. So you just get the notification on your wrist. It taps you, let you know the car's coming. And
the thing is with Android Wear, they would have that app hook in and just say, okay, Google, find me a car. And that
so a lot of fun to be able to call a car like that. Now, what I also like is when I'm traveling to an airport, I can use my Apple Watch to get through security. So when I get near the airport, my boarding pass will just show up right here in my notifications. There's one from American. If I tap on it, you can see my flight information, my seat number, everything you need to check in including a barcode that I can use to just wave in front of the scanner and get through security.
They talk about TSA, not just
That's
border.
really great, because that's one less thing to hold on to, when you're trying to get through the airport. Now, when I'm leaving, I also like to send my wife a little goodbye note.
Take
so
it off before you go through the
digital touch.
airport scanner.
So I'll just press the side button here, and it brings up my friends. I can use the crown here to select.
I don't believe we saw this interface first time around.
My wife.
Really.
Now I can call her, send a message, or I can use digital touch. I'm going to draw a picture for her. So I'll pick a nice color, and I'm going to draw a nice slow flower.
And you see how it's thicker when that's part of the force touch.
That way she knows I'm thinking of her as I'm
They love that feature.
Yeah,
All right,
I
so
think
sent off to
people
my
are
wife
going to
now.
love it too,
Now,
and they
when
don't know
I
it
arrive
yet.
at my hotel room,
I think that comes
I
from
also get a
their own
notification
use.
when I get near
frankly.
hotels.
But
Yeah.
maybe it's
Like
the
SPG's
question is it driven,
hotel.
marketing driven, or usage driven?
I think
Are
it's
they
driven.
excited about it because they've been using it and love it?
I think they're excited about it because they're the only company that has it,
Right.
for starters.
Well, that's
Yeah,
unique.
but it's such a gimmicky thing, though.
Did he say the
For
watch
an
has
for an Apple
Wi-Fi?
product, it does not seem like the sort of thing that would spend any time. They say, "Oh, here's something cool that we put in because we thought was fun," as opposed to every time we talk about this watch, we have to talk about sending your heartbeat and drawing a picture of a kitty.
I disagree. I mean, well, yeah, I agree with that to a certain extent, but I think the fact that you can tap out little patterns is going to be huge. Tap me when you're ready to go. Just sort of, tap it to remind somebody, your spouse or whatever, that you want something to happen or whatever. I think that's going to be huge. And again, it's unique to the Apple Watch. That's smarter than what?
Is it smarter? It's not even easier than Yo.
So there's the Starwood room key feature we've heard a lot about. You can check in and go to your room right through the watch. Apparently, Wi-Fi is on this watch.
Yeah,
really interesting.
Yeah,
they mentioned so you don't have to be within range of your phone when you're inside your house. It'll work anywhere.
That's very interesting. It's got to be a battery.
That's going to be important for HomeKit, for instance.
The difference between the tap communication and Yo is that this is a new.
Hold on a second. Are these speakers? Is this coming from the watch? I mean, it is coming from the watch, but where are the speakers are in the? I'd like to hear what the watch sounds like. Is what I'm saying. And okay, enough. I love the song, but is the watch mic'd and that's what it sounds like?
So it's a simple press of the Shazam
That's
button.
awfully
I see
good.
the song, the album art.
Oh, I see what happened. He was doing a match.
With the song that's being played right now, really super
I see.
cool.
So the music that was playing in the auditorium, he did as Shazam. All right.
Now, when I'm traveling, I might receive some messages as well. And here's one coming in from Maddie, saying that she's forgot her key and can't get in the house.
Comes the home automation part. He's going to lock the
I can actually
door.
take care of this from my watch. So I'm going to reply and say it's going to be okay. I'll use dictation to do that. It's okay. I'll open the garage door for you. I can send that back to Maddie.
I hope it's that fast.
Now I can send that as an audio of my voice actually speaking, or I can send it back as the text.
That is such a huge feature in messages.
And again, you're going to need
gone off to Maddie now.
You're
Now I
going
can
to need
actually
2
control the garage door remotely with my watch. I've got this great app from Alarm.com.
And now I kind of understand why they built that into the new version of iOS.
You can see I've got my information about my house.
It really makes sense on a
The locks are
watch.
locked. The garage door is closed right now. If I'd like to change this, I can just tap on the garage area here. And I have a camera as well pointed at the garage door. And I'm seeing a live feed of the garage door.
Oh, my goodness.
With an open button. So let's open the door.
Oh, no.
So open the door.
Okay, that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
And it should open. There it goes.
That is pretty cool.
Live feed.
Pretty nice. And there she is on her bike waiting to get in.
Yeah, we're seeing stuff that's way more sophisticated than anything that can be done on Android most of the time.
That's
it's not even close.
So
exactly. I mean,
these are just a few examples of the great apps being made for Apple Watch. And a really big focus of our time here has been on saving you time in these moments in your life. You're using the watch and make it really delightful. And we're super excited to see what developers are going to do with this great new platform.
We'll get to it.
Thank you very much.
All day, 9 hours.
And is that's the sport that they're showing on the screen there?
Not sure.
Looks like they're. I mean, I would think they'd focus on the $350
You're going to
version.
be surprised at all the things that developers can do here. When you unleash that community, will be incredible.
They'd screw themselves pretty bad
how do you get this?
This worked like something you can do on every single
Apple
model.
Watch has been designed to work with iPhone.
We make fun about the gold
You go to the
one,
iPhone to both
they don't
see
do that
apps,
kind of crap.
browse apps, and download apps. And there will be some great third-party apps, as we talked about. In iOS 8.2, you will find this new
There's
app,
the Apple Watch
Apple Watch
There's the activity app.
It looks like this.
This is the Apple Watch
app.
app.
Store portion of it. This is where you see and browse and download apps. You can also view how-to videos. You can even learn about the watch before you get one. You can also set up your friends and decide which notifications you want coming to your watch. iOS 8.2 is available today for download.
That's the iOS version
of these great apps and all the capabilities that we've shown you, we think that Apple Watch is quickly going to become integral to your day. And so we've designed it with all-day battery life across a range of activities.
Which we now learn means 9 hours.
Yeah, what is all day? Yeah, now we know. From the new MacBook, that's only 9 hours.
During a typical day, you can expect 18 hours.
That's what I want.
Works for
Yeah,
most
that's
people.
awesome.
Better than expected.
And at the end of the day, there is a simple and elegant way
Tell ya,
to charge
a lot of people go into alarm.com to see how can I
If you hold the magnetic charger near the back of the watch, it will automatically click into place.
This is their
It is so
MagSafe.
cool and so simple.
Charging, and I think a good way to go.
Now, we've curated Apple Watch into 3 collections.
That's one way to put it.
The first collection
Curation.
is Apple Watch Sport. And it has anodized aluminum, and it's available in silver or space gray. And it has colorful bands that are made out of high-performance fluoroelastomer.
You see, not rubber.
Apple Watch
That's
has
right.
Performance
Christy, it's not rubber.
You didn't get the memo.
Down to the materials. And this aluminum material is not your usual run-of-the-mill aluminum.
Of course.
And to show you what I mean, we prepared a short video.
Of course not.
Starring Johnny
It's
Ive.
transparent aluminum. It's the best aluminum we've ever made.
It's the most expensive aluminum you
Manufactured
can
of
buy.
100% fraudulent.
Solid unobtainium.
None of that hippie recycled crap. You tore apart mountains. to
This
get
ain't
this.
your papa's tin
You, I
can.
promise you, are the first people to ever use this aluminum.
This is blood aluminum, ladies and gentlemen.
It's the ideal material for
Johnny
Apple Watch Sport.
Awesome.
Our engineers have custom designed a new alloy.
It takes 13 hours to
It is
machine
60%
every
stronger
Apple Watch.
than standard alloys, but just as light.
And
Johnny,
45% more
aluminum,
awesome.
not aluminium.
This requires precision alloying. Raw aluminium of exceptional purity is first
Exceptional
heated
purity.
in state. Tightly controlled amount of magnesium.
Marketing BS of exceptional purity.
As these elements
So you're telling
bind
me that you
together,
mold it?
they
Out of a
form
metal? That can't be right.
the metal. The alloy is then poured, jet cooled, and cast. A high temperature treatment
We make the
minimizes
cardboard
uneven
out
chemistry in
of
the
pressed
billets
wood fiber and then
ensures
folds
proper
it
grain
to
structure.
the shape of a box, the
Next,
most perfect
a finely
natural
tuned
shape.
extrusion
Ship a
process
watch in.
creates a uniform surface
We honestly think it's the best box that's
free
ever
of
been made.
defects.
This is the best CNC tool we've ever
After being meticulously formed,
It's 40% better than the sword used to knight me.
buffed,
And it looks like a fake Newton there.
and then textured with microscopic zirconia beads.
Sure, you just not
to achieve
talking about making a fake
consistent
Newton there?
satin finish.
So that's interesting. They're putting
Finally,
zirconium
anodizing
beads on there to
creates
give it a
hard,
texture.
clear outer layer that helps protect against stings and scratches.
It looked like a flat tire.
We believe this
Opening there for
aluminium
me.
alloy sets a new standard, both in the way it performs
It's a little bit raised.
and the way it looks.
Some complaints already about the band, the sport band, being difficult to attach. You have to kind of put it up that
Well, we were
way.
only guessing that you'd want to make swap outs over the day for fashion purposes.
Right.
As long as it holds up. I mean, one of my complaints about the Pebble is that the band looks like crap after a month and a half. It starts to delaminate.
Dirty.
$349 for the 38 millimeter model.
Gruber was
and
right.
only
They're charging $50
$50
more for the larger model.
42 millimeter model.
So Gruber nailed that one. He's made some
Apple
predictions.
Watch collection offers the widest variety of bands.
So get ready
that
for
we
that.
offer.
The bigger watch
You can
costs.
get a sport
premium.
band. There are 3 different leather bands. There's a Milanese loop and a link bracelet. The cases are made from stainless steel, and
This
you
is
can
the
get them
middle-
in either a
middle
traditional
one.
finish or this beautiful space black.
Brilliantly, they're not saying it's the woman's and the man's watch. They're saying it's the small one and the big one.
This stainless steel is no ordinary stainless steel.
This is a $750 watch, depending on the band.
What's that?
This is the stainless steel watch. This is the middle watch.
And this one has sapphire, a sapphire display.
Yeah.
Stainless steel is both strong and beautiful.
And it's stainless.
There's a reason
the mini bus from
the
Big Hero 6
to make fine watch cases.
60% more stainless.
For Apple Watch, we start with an alloy of stainless steel.
This is the one, of course, everybody wants.
The tears of joy that we wept when we finished this.
It's the one I want, for sure.
We then customize it through a series of alloying and processing
Virgil in the
steps
chat room's telling
to
us
make
he
it
sees
even
A2.
stronger. While in its molten state, the composition of the metal is tightly controlled.
Then I'm on Verizon. I'll plug it next year.
And ensure hardness.
It'll work, I think.
I have to say, these are beautiful videos of metallurgy.
This is followed by a specialized cold forging.
Did he say it was forged?
Cold forging process.
I've never heard of metal being molded before.
My God.
80% harder and less susceptible to nicks and scratches.
Oh, guess what? I just heard that the Samsung Galaxy S6 is also molded out of metal. See, they cannot invent.
They copy.
Apple has to do it, and then they copy it.
This milling machine.
Who thinks of molding metal? Only those crazies in Cupertino.
It is beautiful. Look at this. Watch this buffing. Oh my God. I wish to be buffed by Johnny Ive.
For the space black stainless steel.
You still sell T-shirts? That'd be a big hit until Apple forces you to stop.
These are lovely, and I think the Link band is the band. They will be the expensive band, but is the band again.
I'm glad to see that they have the full range of bands available, even for the Sport Edition. Yeah. I wonder if the bands are transferable. They must be.
They must be.
So you buy the 351 with the rubber band. The next year you upgrade that just with a better band, and the year after that, after 2 years, and this is indispensable, then you upgrade to the generation 2 or 3 stainless steel, I'm guessing.
It's not rubber.
Dr. Mom says that Link band should cost about $30.
Yeah.
The Milanese loop, normally called a Link band, $50. I love that Link, though. That's beautiful.
Forged in California.
You look like an armadillo.
And now 90% of you have to leave the room because we're going to talk about the gold one.
Oh, here's the pricing.
Whoa!
$549 to $1,050. 600.
The 38 millimeter starts at only $549 and ranges to $1049 depending upon your selection of the watch band. The 42 millimeter is only $50 more. Now, the Apple Watch Edition.
So Gruber so far is pretty much right on.
Yeah. And very special.
I'm glad the steel
They're
one.
also available.
It's a good price. That's about right, isn't it?
42 millimeter sizes. Their
I mean, it's
cases
expensive,
are made
but
from
it's
18
not out of
karat
reach.
Right.
solid gold.
The cheapest one is another iPhone.
They also come with these
Yes,
beautiful
perfect way to think of
custom designed bands with details like elegant clasp and buckles.
Now, Gruber was predicting
that are
prices as
also
high as
made of solid
$10,000
gold.
for edition.
Yep.
So we'll see what
that's going to be right.
Some analysts said down to 5.
Of the Apple
it's going to be
Watch
10
Edition.
at least.
I said 5 plus as much as
$10,000.
15 grand.
And it will be
As I have
available
no idea.
in select retail stores.
Interesting. Not
The
just
Apple
Apple
Watch
stores.
Edition is the most beautiful expression
Pre-order
of
April
the Apple
10th.
Watch. You may be wondering when you can get these. We're taking
It's the same
pre-orders
as the-
beginning on April the
As we
10th.
predicted, the new
Also on April 10th, you can go look and experience an Apple Watch in person in one of our retail stores.
You notice how
The
careful they are
retail
with their
team has
language.
worked
They
out
didn't
an
say that they were
incredible way
that
to
they were
do
going to
this,
start shipping them
and it
necessarily in
starts
April.
with
Only if
this
they're available in
beautiful
April.
custom table
Oh,
where you
there you
can
go.
see
Well, how much
all
longer?
of the Apple Watches beautifully
Is
displayed.
that carpet?
That's the date when
And
you
of
can
course,
go and
our
decide to
retail
buy one.
staff is on hand to help
Oh,
you try them
did it say
on
pre-order
to have
start on
the
April 10th?
ultimate
Yeah.
experience.
They didn't say
and
that
help
shipping
you
on April 10th.
choose
There it
the
is.
one that's
Available
right for
April
you.
24th.
The Apple Watch is available on April 24th.
So 2 weeks later,
It will
you'll
be
get your watch.
available in many countries
Australia,
throughout
Canada,
the world.
China, France, Germany, Hong Kong, Japan, United
Not all
Kingdom,
countries,
and the United
however,
States.
and you can be assured that we're working as hard as possible, as fast as possible, to deliver them to even more countries. We are incredibly excited about this new
Did he say the price?
family of products for us.
No, not yet.
He's scared. The world to know.
Maybe
He
he's
did.
not even going to say
10K,
it.
huh? Starts at 10K.
Because he doesn't want that to be the news
He
today.
said it fast if he said it.
He mumbled, this is 10K.
Everybody understand
That has to be a deliberate choice. They know that if they say that this is going to be X many $1,000s, that's what people are going to be writing about and talking about today.
Yep, that number is the number.
We don't know the upper limit.
Now I'm gonna believe it's going to be at the upper range of what I
He
said.
said from $10,000, so that is a.
Oh, he said from.
And you can
that is
pay.
a starting point.
You can pay for it with Apple Pay.
Prices begin at $10,000 mean could be a lot more.
But I think if the central nugget is $10,000,
yeah, add the band
as opposed to now you can add like a 12-pound gold link band and make it $30,000. I mean,
but you know, $10,000. How much? I mean, once you spend $10,000, $1,000 band is not.
I'll have to say that's still to me a crazy amount of money to spend for what is really one of those. Only we molded it in gold instead of something cheaper.
And you're not going to give it to your great-grandchild on your deathbed. Here, take my watch. Oh.
You can go deeper than you don't have to go deeper than that. It's like it's one of those. Only we made it in gold. So
it's still obsolete in 2 years.
As long as I can watch the garage door opening on the cheap one,
I've seen guesses as high as 20,000, and if it were that, you'd hear I'd be having a raving fit right now.
The Apple Watch joins a line of products that
So
we are
Gruber
incredibly
nailed it
proud
across
of.
the board.
Yep.
But we continue
Obviously
to push all of them
had
forward.
some sources.
This is what everyone in Apple is focused on, pushing
Apple
all
stock
of our
price
products
is now
forward,
down to
creating a
$127,
better
as you'd
future.
expect. You buy on the rumor, you sell on this story.
Such as transforming the way we experience television with Apple TV
So the sum up here.
and HBO Now. And this is just the beginning.
About an hour and 30 minutes in, a 90-minute presentation.
In summary, we hope you have a good job because
And the new platform research kit. We're incredibly confident that this is going to have a profound impact on all of us.
Well, he skipped over that price so quickly, I missed it.
I did too while we were talking, and I apologize, but it went fast.
New
did not belabor that point.
They didn't have a card up with that.
No.
Don't photograph Tim next to the price of this watch.
Nor did they spend a lot of time on the gold, how they make it, and it's the best gold. And
you know, that's for another audience.
It's a different, very different audience.
They clear the riffraff out of the room and then.
Exactly. We'll have a separate message for people at Tiffany's.
No, there's another event happening concurrently where they have the non-riffraff reporters.
Right, exactly.
This is what Apple is all about. And this is what
Apple Watch
everyone
available
in
for order
Apple
April
is focused
10th.
on.
You can actually
I'd like
wear
to
one
personally
starting April
thank
24th.
All of the Apple team.
That's when the line will form.
Price ranges from $350 for the Sport to
You saw today
$10,000 and up for the edition.
years of very hard work in the making. I'd like all of them to stand up for some level of recognition.
And this is where you get the team up in the first few rows of the Yerba Buena Center in San Francisco.
We know you can make more at Tesla, but you could. There's Al Gore.
There's Al Gore right in the front row. He's, of course, a member of the Apple Board of Directors.
Yep.
Surprisingly, he did not stand up. I thought he invented the watch. But
No, he invented the secure element, which he wanted to call the lockbox.
Standing up in Cupertino and in many other places in the world. We have a hands-on area.
So you can get a gold
for all of
Rolex for
you.
about the same price as a gold Apple
Go
Watch.
get your hands on the new Macbook.
Serenity Caldwell, Jason Snell, Renee Ritchie, all in the room. They're going to go off to the demo.
Outside, it's unbelievable. I want to thank you all for coming. It's a
That's all going to be about the
in
MacBook.
front of this group. Thank you.
The new MacBook is really compelling. And of course, that's a product.
Yeah,
that's impressive. This is why I try not to write about like rumors, because from what Mark Gurman had about 90% of it right. And it's not that he got things wrong, it's that he didn't have the context that they were going to be delivering it in.
Yeah.
And if you just simply said, Apple has a new crazy, crazy thin notebook with only one port, and they made a super, super, super flat keyboard that's smaller, that gets you, oh, God. But let me hear them explain what they're doing, and we'll figure out what that actually means.
All right, we're going to summarize and wrap this up in a bit. I'm going to take a break for our sponsor, Gazelle.com. Now you know why Gazelle wanted to sponsor this show. If you've got old gadgets gathering dust in your drawer, they could be enough if you add them all up to buy yourself one of these nice new gadgets at Gazelle.com. Great price for your old gadget. They'll even buy broken iPods, iPads, iPhones. They will wipe the data if you can't or you forget, but they'll also buy Samsung tablets, Google tablets, Microsoft Surfaces. Top dollar, you get 30 days after you get the quote, so that gives you time to, that's about right. Gives you time to place your order, get your new device, move the data over, and then sell it to Gazelle. They pay the postage once you check out. They'll send you a box fit for all of the devices you've spec'd out there, and you'll either get a PayPal credit, a check, or get the Amazon gift card. Gazelle now sells, too, by the way. The best stuff that they buy is sold by their Gazelle Certified Pre-Owned program. So if you don't have, for instance, a new iPhone, you want to use the watch with your iPhone, you've got an old 4S, sell the 4S at Gazelle and then buy a new iPhone at a very good price. Devices available in 2 conditions, certified like new or certified good. The good devices show some gentle signs of wear, but it will save you a lot more money. It's really a great deal. And all devices have been put through their rigorous 30-point inspection, so they are not only fully functional, but you have 30 days to return it risk-free. Gazelle.com. Buy and sell at Gazelle. Find out what your old stuff's worth and whether you've got the cabbage to get some new stuff. Gazelle.com. So to summarize,
yes,
they actually did 90 minutes and a lot of stuff in 90 minutes. They started off kicking off the show with the chairman and president of HBO announcing a new program, a new app called HBO Now, as rumored. $15. You don't need a cable subscription. HBO Now will be exclusive to Apple TV and Apple devices like the iPhone and the iPad. Did they say a date?
April.
April. It's all in
yes,
April.
Yes, April. What was the day on that? That was April 10th.
Is everything April 10th?
Like
well, they said it'll come out the same time as Game of Thrones, right? In the new Veep. So
in time for.
In time for.
Yeah. All I have here is early April.
Yeah, that's what Game of Thrones is around that time. Yeah. They also spent some time talking about a new research kit, which is kind of an interesting departure for Apple to lead off a big announcement like this with something like that. But I think an interesting product, and big data for medicine.
And it's open source, and they also announced they demonstrated 5 research kit apps, and then said that they were now available. So if you want to download those right now, I think you can probably do that.
I neglected to mention the Apple TV prices also dropped by $30. Is now $69 to get, but no new Apple TV yet.
Again, that's always a sign. If you want to see where Apple is feeling a lot of pressure and a lot of failure, look for a price drop, because there's a reason why the iPad Mini decided to do a price drop, because there's competition and people are buying those things. The reason why they dropped the price of the Apple TV is that there's competition and people are buying those things. So
they may be working on one that they think everyone will want to buy, but in the meantime, they can't. They can't lose customers who are going to be locked into a certain.
Particularly if you want to take advantage of HBO Go. There are going to be a lot of people who are going to buy HBO early because they just want this solution, or they don't want to have a cable contract. And so that if you're telling them, well, if you don't have an Apple TV, now's a good time to get one. Hey, look, we just dropped the price. Isn't that affordable?
Amazingly enough, I mean, a company, almost any company would have just a lot of reason to crow with just the watch. But they also thought, well, let's also announce a new Mac notebook. So the entire notebook line is going to be updated. The 13-inch MacBook Pro now has this new Force Touch trackpad. The MacBook Airs are faster. They've added double the speed flash storage, increased battery life across the board. I presume these are all Broadwell chip-based Intel 5th generation. No new 15-inch, but a new MacBook Airs and a new 13-inch. But the most interesting thing is the new MacBook, just titled MacBook. Which is interesting.
That's such a perfect insight in the way that Apple does business. We've heard about Apple Watch in September having now. This is the first time we've had an interface where it not only knows that you've tapped, but also can tell how hard you've tapped. We've got haptic feedback, and now they want to extend that into the Mac range so that this is a language that will extend across all your devices. Once again, you're kind of locked into pairing Apple devices with other devices, but the benefit of that is that they will make it so that it really feels like one seamless experience in a way that, you know, an Android Wear device, I've got a Motorola phone, I've got a Motorola Android Wear watch. They don't work together as seamlessly as what it seems like an iPhone and my MacBook and this other watch will do.
The new MacBook has a 12-inch display at a very high resolution, 2304 by 1440. It's 1610, which he didn't mention. The width of the computer is determined not by the display, but by the keyboard, which goes almost all the way out to the... It's the first bezel-less keyboard I've ever seen. They describe new keys with a butterfly switch, which they say rocks less.
Say 4 times more stable than the scissor variety.
Whatever that means.
Yeah.
And this new trackpad, which all of this, by the way, weren't rumored by Mark Gurman at 9 to 5 Mac. The trackpad doesn't click anymore, but it does sense how hard you're pressing it. We'll have to see how intuitive that is, although I'm sensing it might be pretty intuitive.
And one of the things I'm most excited about personally is that the trackpad has the Taptic engine, same one that they first announced with the Apple Watch. So it's the future of where Apple's going with haptics, and that's going to be a completely different experience, I think, for using a trackpad.
Here's the big shocker: one connector for everything. A USB Type-C port, which will handle power, video, data. Of course, there is another port on the other side for a headphone and microphone, but that's it. That allows them to make this a very thin 2-pounder. You know, it's kind of, to me, feels like a hybrid between an iPad and a laptop.
Yep.
And all battery, boy. It's just a huge amount of battery.
They shrank the motherboard down, way down, and then put a bunch of batteries in there. I counted 6. I don't know if that's how many there were, but they are terraced and contoured to enable the thinness at the edges.
Yeah. Every available space of molecule has some sort of a power cell inside it.
Eventually, batteries will just be poured into the empty spaces of the laptop to make them thinner.
It's close to that.
I'm just glad that this is not being sold as a MacBook Air or a MacBook Pro. If this would be a very curious way to replace the MacBook Air line, because you would be asking people to make a lot of adjustments if this is the only MacBook Air you can get it. As a now triple line of mobile Macs, where you have the MacBook Air, the MacBook Pro, and now just the MacBook. This is perfectly fine. It's a great option for people who really are in the sort of lifestyle where they almost never plug in anything to their notebooks anyway. They really do want to have something. They're willing to trade all that off for making this an absurdly thin notebook. And it's not just a little thinner; it's absurdly thinner from the numbers that they've been giving us. This is a really. I liked everything that I heard about this.
Andy, do you think this is the beginning of the end of the MacBook Air?
I would not be surprised if 2 years from now the MacBook Air goes away and everything that they make is more like this. My fear is that Apple would do something they often do, which is to say, well, look, we've seen 3 years into the future and nobody's going to use DisplayPort. No one's going to use HDMI. So we've already deleted them off of all of our devices. And now if you want a Mac, sorry. Sorry, there's nothing you can do about it. I do think that this is going to be what all default Macs are going to be like in 3 or 4 years.
And this is somewhat driven by the reduction in size of components. The motherboard on this thing is the same, roughly the same size as an iPad's logic board. It's very small, and everything's smaller now. This is running on 5th generation Core M Intel processors. They claim 5 watts of power on that processor, which means no fan. There's probably no room for a fan, but no fan means silent operation. 9 hours of battery life, they're claiming. I like the reversible Type-C connector. I think that's a nice feature. I'd love to see that on more laptops, even if it's just for power, because it would make it a better world if we'd only had to buy one power brick every once in a while.
Yeah. That's more. Also, just the fact they're doing away with this does not include the MagSafe connector, the revisited one they did, because that's the worst engine. That's the biggest design fail that Apple's made in the past 3 or 4 years. It's just terrible. So the fact that we've got not only a standard power connector, but one that actually stays in when you want to keep to stay in.
Doesn't stay in when you kick it.
That was the whole point of the MagSafe adapter. You can now trip over your cords, but I guess you stop tripping over your cords now.
Well, there's no moving parts. This weighs 2 pounds. There's no inertia behind whatever falls. Wherever it falls,
it's going to go flying no matter where it goes.
The next stage, of course, is to go completely wireless with wireless charging and wireless data connectivity, in which case, no ports.
They clearly want to go wireless as much as possible. So the iPhone is 6.9 to 7.1 millimeters thick. This new laptop is 13 millimeters. It's not much thicker than an iPhone, which is pretty remarkable. At 2 pounds, it's easily the lightest laptop out there. And 12 inches, although a little disappointed the bezel's big. I guess I didn't need to shrink the bezel because they had to have the width for the keyboard anyway. They claim larger key sizes, which is interesting. Shrink the device by 17% larger keycaps.
My guess is significantly shallower key travel, but bigger keys.
Right.
So the experience is unknowable at this point. Those of us, Andy, I know you and I both spend a 2-digit percentage of our days literally typing as fast as we can. And the experience is everything. The experience of the keyboard is absolutely everything. And if this is a great experience, it's fantastic. If it is a less than great experience, then it could be a deal breaker for a lot of types of people.
Did they mention the eyesight camera on here? And does it even have an eyesight camera on here?
I don't think they mentioned it. Yeah, probably nothing new there. Just
I mean, I have to say that I'm so glad I did not write a piece responding to Mark Gurman's piece. Because again, it was. I saw a lot of stuff in there that made me think, oh man, I would hate this machine that he's describing, but I can't say that it would be ridiculous to imagine Apple doing that. And that one of the big fails for me was the idea that they scrunched the keys closer together and made it so that's not the exact same shape and size as these other keyboards. I can't tell you how many times I have had. From any maker, a notebook in front of me where we've got the latest Intel processors, we've got this incredible screen, we've got this incredible case, but we spent $2.80 on the keyboard instead of $3.40. And like I'm like you, Mike, and so many people, your hands are on this part of the computer all day long. If it feels horrible, the whole machine feels horrible. It doesn't matter how much engineering you put into the power supply.
The colors, silver, gold, and space gray, the price starts at $12.99. For actually a fairly well-equipped 256 gigabyte SSD and 8 gigs of RAM. Double the SSD and RAM, increase this processor speed marginally, and you'll go up to $15.99. And 226 pixels per inch. That's I think you can say that's Retina.
Yeah.
Processor won't be the fastest, although it does have that turbo boost that'll get you closer to modern mainstream processor speeds. It is a mobile processor, although it is a 5th generation processor from Intel. It's a Broadwell chip on the 14-nanometer die. Let me see if they say graphics, the Intel HD Graphics 5300, 802.11 AC, Bluetooth 4. Look, there it is, 480p FaceTime camera. So the camera is really, you know, 480p. It's DVD quality.
Yeah.
That ain't awful, but it's not great either.
And if I could do a quick house at it, Leo, we're going to do a segment of TNT after this where we have some guests standing by to talk about the Apple event.
Going then. We'll get going.
But stick around after this event. We're going to do that, and then that's going to be inserted into TNT as part of the regular show.
Stereo speakers, we did confirm that. You saw on the jack for the headphone, that's just headphone. There were 2 dots there. Those are dual microphones, so they have noise-canceling microphones in there. Anyway, that's, I think, a very exciting product. That's called the Macbook, and that will be available April 10th. So will pre-orders for the Apple Watch, and we do now have pricing for the new Apple Watch, and it is pretty much as expected. We knew $349 for the Sport model. There will be a $50 premium on all the watches for the larger 42mm size, so that you pay an extra $50 for a bigger watch.
Did we know, for example, that the larger version of the stainless steel version was going to be, what, we're looking at $600? I don't think we knew that. I think that's a little bit more than we thought.
No, well, there are guesses all over the map. I've seen people guessing 8, 9, even I saw people guessing even in the low, like 1,000, 1,200, 1,300 range, which seemed high to me.
Yeah.
my predictions, I didn't make predictions per se, but this morning I said that I believe that the sport version was going to be the affordable one. The steel one is going to be aspirational, but definitely reachable. Just like a difference between a $60 fine dining meal and like a $200 fine dining meal. It's not that the people who can afford the one can't afford the other, but they may not necessarily volunteer for the pricier one. It's about the price that I thought it would be.
There are 10 models of the steel in 2 different sizes, so there's 20 different models. So that's why you can't just say how much it costs. It starts at what was it, 700, 750?
Yes, $549 for the small size.
$549,
and I think
$600 for the
I don't think you
base.
said it explicitly, but I think we're looking at $599. I
do think that's a great price. You look at stainless steel. I saw a novelty stainless steel watch at PAX over the weekend. From Resident Evil, and looked well made, but it was a novelty stainless steel watch that went for $250, and it was just like had a movement in it and just had some cool graphics on it.
Top of the line, which I presume is the Link model, will be about $1,100.
Yeah.
So there's a pretty broad range there, but that's you know what, I think that's pretty consonant with watch prices in general.
What's shocking, I think, to a lot of especially younger people is that these seem like really high prices because we have a generation or two of people who haven't bought a watch. They don't wear watches.
Nothing wearers. Yeah, you're right. I mean, and Timex and Swatch have brought the expectations well below $100.
And
that might even work towards Apple's favor and Android Wear's favor, because if you're not, I got out my watches. I got up the watch that I used to wear before my previous one, and it was a tiny little Timex Indiglo that was about the size of a $50, maybe a quarter, and now it looks so tiny compared to even the analog watch I got after that. If you're not used to wearing tiny watches, then suddenly having a screen that's big and readable and enough of a screen size you can actually tap buttons and find them, that's not a disadvantage to some people. So
now the Edition, they didn't say much about. The kind of implication was if you have to ask, you can't afford it.
Yeah.
Starts at $10,000.
I really think they understood that the people who are listening to this have no interest in that watch, and it will only piss them off. And
I think that
nothing to be gained by talking about it.
I think one of the interesting things about this, in terms of pricing for Apple as a company, is the fact that now they're on average, I think they're basically asking iPhone owners to pay for another iPhone. Essentially, this is a roughly, give or take a few $100s. That's what you're talking about. In addition to having to every 2 years buy this iPhone, you got to buy 2 iPhones, or the equivalent thereof in terms of the price. And also, I think that the minimum price for the Edition watch, if I'm not mistaken, is literally the most expensive minimum price of any Apple product they've ever sold. Is that correct, Andy? Have they ever sold a product where the cheapest version is $10,000?
I don't know. Of course not.
Again, it's a totally new thing. Apple gets, as I wrote this morning, this is the first thing where they can pick whatever price they want for this, because they're marketing to people who are spending that now $9,000 more for smoke. And you can argue about how well Rolex makes watches that are $10,000. This is not that. This is, again, no one will ever get me off of my conclusion that the watch edition is simply one of those in gold.
Well, exactly. But the thing is that this pushes them into a different world, a world where the high price is one of the main benefits.
Exactly.
If you go to China and Russia and a lot of other countries, and the United States as well, let's not pretend like there's not a lot of status-seeking people all over the world who want to be able to flash this gold thing. And when you see gold, if you know anything about it, you're going to know, wow, that is a status symbol.
So they've put the prices for the Edition up now on the website. The least expensive 38mm 18-karat rose gold case with a rubber band. I'm sorry, what was it? Polyfluoroethylene. $10,000. That's beginning price.
Literally nobody is going to buy that one.
You want a bigger one? $12,000. That's the same thing with the rubber band. You want a black sport band? I don't know what the difference is. That's I guess it's the same thing. Here's the modern gray buckle, $17,000 for the 38, $15,000 for the 42. I'm very confused about pricing here.
Yeah.
Bright modern buckle, $17,000. Contrary to the other watches, the smaller watch is more expensive.
hey, ASUS makes an Android Wear watch that looks just like that. Doesn't cost nearly so much money. Yep, same color strap, also made out of leather. It's a gold case. I don't see the difference.
Is this discrimination against women? The smaller one is $2,000 more than the bigger one. Completely the opposite of the other watches in the line.
Apple, because we can.
Well, it just shows you it's random. It doesn't have any. It's not.
It's a little bit amazing to me that they even think that anybody who will spend 10 grand on this watch would even consider getting the the rubber,
exactly,
sweat-proof band, and that for $10,000 they wouldn't say we are going to design a special band you get for free with this that has a little bit more style to it than the sport edition.
But is this rose gray modern buckle really $7,000? That band? Yeah. That band is $7,000.
They can. That's what I've been struggling with for weeks now. I felt as though they could have charged 20 grand for that watch, not because it was that valuable, but because there are people that I believe for whom the difference between $12,000 and $20,000 for something that they want is negligible.
So the standalone bands are available. The blue sport band is $49.
I want to buy one of those bands and just put it on an Android Wear watch because I know that it will make people freak out and get very angry.
The Link bracelet starts at $450. That's the one that takes 9 hours. Milanese loop, $150 in 38 and 42 millimeters. So the bands are all over the place as well. The Link bracelet's the most expensive at $450. Unless you're buying an edition, and then all bets are off.
Yeah.
Basically, if you're buying an edition, you just
right.
I'm most curious about what the sales experience will be for edition.
It's going to be nice.
It doesn't sound like you'll get that in the Apple Store, does it? He said in select retail.
They said select. Well, I think they said select Apples. I believe they said select Apple stores as opposed to going to Cartier or Tiffany. But this can't be a place where you walk in, someone in a T-shirt says, "What do you want?" So I want a gold Apple Watch. They take your card, swipe it on their phone, and then 30 seconds later, someone hands you an Apple Store bag with a cardboard box in it.
No, the Apple Watch Edition Genius Bar will have literally a genius running it, and it will be literally a bar.
The least expensive stainless steel is $549 for the 38 millimeter Sport. If you want Milanese loop, it's $650 or $700. Buckle, modern buckle, $750 or
Susie Oaks
$700.
Tweeting from the demo room saying, "I'm standing in line for the demo room between editors for PC Magazine and Cosmopolitan."
Yeah,
that's Apple today.
It says it right there. Yep. That says it all.
The executive editor of Macworld.
All right. I think we're going to wrap this up because you've got to do TNT. We've got a triangulation coming up.
Yep.
And don't forget tomorrow, very special Mac Break Weekly. Andy, you'll be back, and we'll have Serenity Caldwell, Renee Ritchie, and possibly even Jason Snell, all from who have all been at the event, and we're all trying the watches on and looking at, more importantly, we've all tried the watch before, but looking at the Air. The watch, again, available for pre-order and testing in-store April 10th. You'll be able to walk out the door April 24th wearing your new Apple Watch and $17,000 lighter.
Yes.
And the loafers. Thank you, Andrew Ihnatko. Always a pleasure. We'll see you tomorrow for a special Mac Break.
I've got three hours of furious typing ahead of me, so
get typing. Get typing. Thank you, too, Mike Elgan. You have a long day today, but I appreciate your being here for that.
It's a lot of fun.
He's going to go off and do TNT.
That's right.
I'll be back in about half an hour with Triangulation. So stay tuned. Thanks for joining us for this special edition, the TWiT Live Special, number 241. Not just the watch. It's a lot more from Apple. I'm Leo Laporte. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.